everyone feel lesser as a human being. What the fuck?
I don't watch South Park.
Yeah.
Don't you even laugh, because I know your ass be watching fucking South Park.
I haven't watched that shit in the last 4 years, bro, after I realized
Make you better? Like you went to church and it's like, oh, well, they put me...
Yeah, it does, man. Just like when you left wrestling, when they started doing like Latino cool and shit.
No, because I never left this shit.
You should have left.
God damn it. Oh, people,
I always get confused on which era you were like, yeah, I'm done. Dip.
Shit, no, I think it was literally, that was around the time. Yeah, the whole John Cena thing, him coming out, I'm Vanilla Ice, yo, 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 and he's rapping and shit.
Informer,
What?
You guys getting the chat attack. Mauricio, finish your orgasm and then finish your sentence.
I like to nut and talk with my kink.
Mauricio, I know you're probably not in here yet, but I apologize for making fun of you right out the bat. But we're gonna
he may not be here already, but he's in the ministry.
I'm in the ministry, and I'm waiting for you. Anyways, guys, the chat tag. We're not doing a double toast pre-show today. No, we're doing our shit, and you know, it'll be the same quality because that's what we do. We just sit around, talk shit to each other. And the thing they were talking about beforehand was Scoob and the wacky racist fucking show. How many of you guys even remember half the Hanna-Barbera shows back in the day, anyways?
Oh, I remember all of them.
Yep.
If you're under 18, you probably don't remember.
I don't remember. I'm fucking the oldest.
Remember, I thought Dragon Ball Z was Hanna-Barbera.
That's
seriously?
No, remember the main reason I did is because I was a fan of Johnny Quest. And I ain't seen other cartoons with that type of animation style or like the really like dedicated type of like trying to make realistic portrayal of human characters to a certain extent. So when I saw like Dragon Ball Z for the first time on like Toonami or on the like the afternoon cartoon run, I was like, oh my god, Hanna-Barbera's got some amazing shit now. What the fuck is this? Dragons, lasers,
balls.
Man, Johnny Quest got some balls. What the fuck? I didn't learn that it was Toyami and like Asian until I fucking was like middle school.
Tony Ami?
Yeah,
Tonyami, Tamiyami, Teriyaki, I don't know.
Teriyaki. No, I can see it a little bit. Look at the colors. You know.
No, you gotta look at Johnny Quest specifically because these are the cartoon ones.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, no, because at least in Dragon Ball Z, they know how to draw necks. They don't do that. They don't do that to like have a fucking like tie right by their fucking necks and shit.
Well, you can see they have like Johnny Quest has a neck like that's the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Like I'm talking about Johnny Quest specifically because that was the one that was like, oh, this is a continuation of what Hanna-Barbera was doing. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, dude. I normally I'd be making fun of you, but you know these two are gonna go nuts on.
But I definitely know that Jabba Jaw was in a fucking inspiration for Dragon Ball Z, even at that age.
He was?
No, he wasn't. I wasn't that dumb.
Okay.
Well, go back to that one picture of like all the Hanna-Barbera characters.
All right. There we go.
Oh, look, they got Pebble and Bam Bam back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All grown and shit.
Bam Bam was annoying as fucking live action movie. The Flintstones.
Bam!
Yeah, dude. Like, by the way, so Bam Bam from Flintstones did he turn into anybody? Like, was he ever a big deal?
I think they became rock stars, but that's everybody in a Hanna-Barbera. All right, so from the 60s to the 80s, every Hanna-Barbera character had a fucking band, and they were all fucking artists. Even if they were like some generic shit, or that wasn't even part of their fucking their cast setup.
Yo, why do you have a stroke every single time you say Hanna-Barbera?
Because Brave, there's like a part of my brain right now.
I'm not even saying Brave.
What?
You called me Brave instead of Babe.
Well, you are the little brave one, but that's the point.
Yeah, no, because I'm trying to think, like, because this kid looks familiar to me. Is he not the one that's on the Star Wars, the Phantom Chocolate?
Oh, no, they ain't
Jake Lloyd?
Yeah, Jake Lloyd.
That's what I thought, too. Ain't it?
No, they're not the same kid. That would be a weird fucking, like, coincidence. I know Jake Lloyd was in the Arnold Schwartz movie.
Gene going the way? Yeah, I know you don't want to say that name, huh?
I'm not saying that last name.
Yeah, I just say Schwellenpecker. Where's Bam Bam in here, dude? I can't find his
You just missed it.
Where? Oh, Bam.
Right there.
Wow, you see
what
his
the
name?
Fuck?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, so they had twins do it, basically.
Wow, he never became shit because no one could pronounce his fucking name. That sucks.
Fuck, that is a Nordic-ass last name like a motherfucker. He just got the special O.
Hillinur Sigurðsson.
You know someone's Nordic as fuck when their O's got a titty on it.
Does he ever...
That's a straight up nipple on that O.
Don't give him that. Don't give him that.
No, that was kind of good.
Thank you. I'll be here all week, folks. Subscribe to my Patreon, my podcast.
Yeah, you'll be here all week, but you'll fucking ignore me all fucking day.
Ooh,
I was asleep.
Look at you.
No,
even
you
this dude
weren't.
over here is
No,
like,
you weren't.
Wait. Did they just hire the whole family?
Yeah, the whole there's a Cursians.
Oh, they were all in one movie. Okay.
I like how I misspelled fucking Bam Bam. It's 2 M's.
Good luck spelling that last name.
Yeah, I know. Fucking shit, man. But like, no, they didn't do anything else though. I'm looking over here and yeah, there's no other film credit here. That's kind of crazy.
He probably wrote that all through high school.
Yeah, a fucking kid just running around, bam, 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 and then can it be on the next movie? No, bam, and just fucking go. Cause dude, that was a big movie. Especially like with not John Candy, but what the fuck is his name? Oh, why did I
John
forget?
Goodman.
John Goodman, yes. Him being in there was pretty huge. Yeah, dude, that was a good movie. We should all watch that. Like, not even as a review or whatever, but like for fun. We should watch the Flintstones.
It still holds up.
We're gonna watch Venom in the meta stream.
No.
Venom.
Can you imagine
Because
watching-
everyone likes Venom.
No one does.
No, they don't. No, 'cause
No, everyone does.
Stupid. They're too stupid
Now
to like
get
it.
in the meta stream.
No,
It's like a Rick and Morty. You need a high IQ to understand Venom.
No, you know, I'm gonna put this out here. Fucking chat. Look, because it's our show, I don't mind being mean, and you guys know me well, so we'll get over this within the next 30 minutes when we're all in the after hours. But you guys are too fucking stupid to know that Venom is actually a good movie because the media told you. The media told you. Oh, this is a stupid movie. They say fucking what's that thing? Fuck, I keep forgetting. A symbiote, whatever the fuck. It's like, oh, they said that wrong, so now it's some bullshit. It's like, no, you guys are bullshit. You guys fucking shit on something for stupid reasons, and then you watch Endgame and you're like, oh, that's a great movie. It's the best movie I've ever seen all fucking summer. Yeah, like, no, fuck all you. But I'm sorry. Flintstones.
You want to know something about Venom?
What?
Apparently, if his owner basically gets a boner, Venom takes care of it.
Stop it. That's not the case. And with the ton.
Oh no, it definitely is the case. That's what the writer said.
Are you fucking? Just don't.
I'm not joking with you.
Chat. Can y'all look this up?
Well, it was more just like someone asked the question, and they said like, "Well, I mean, I know the answer, but I'm not actually allowed to say it." And then basically someone said it, and then the writers basically liked the comment.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing.
Hinting at like, yeah, Venom takes care of it.
No, because here's the thing though. It's like you guys had the same situation with like, oh, well, what if Ant-Man climbed up down?
Oh wait, no, I think that one in particular was like if Venom was the top. Yeah, Venom's the top. I think they actually did answer the boner question.
That's so stupid. Why would? By the way, what's wrong with this fucking generation of people? That's why, like, dude, parents from like the 80s and 90s.
Because they know Eddie and Venom are gay as fuck.
They're not. And why does it always have to get sexual with them?
They're totally gay.
It's not even like an anti-gay thing. It's just an anti-sexual thing of like, why does it always have to turn to that?
Because they're gay.
No, see, now you're kind of fetishizing gayness a little bit. Because it's just kind of like,
that's not me fetishizing. They are gay.
That's not it. That's not even part of the storyline. He eats people. Why would he want to fuck things that he eats? Actually, don't answer that. Don't answer that, please.
There's a lot of sheep herders that would disagree with you.
I know. Damn it. Like what Ryan said over there, knock, knock, let the devil in. Yeah, I don't even know where that's a reference from, but it fucking fits the occasion. But Roxy,
it's the Eminem song.
It is?
That he made for Venom.
I didn't listen to that shit. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. But here's the thing, though. I want to ask you. Earlier, when I brought up the Flintstones and saying, "Oh, let's watch it in the Metastream," why the fuck did you say, "Nah"? What's your problem with the Flintstones?
Because I was pretending to be Mauricio.
Oh, I was watching.
I actually like the Flintstones. You fuck.
I'm sorry, you son of a bitch.
Even the same thing with Viva Rock Vegas. I still like Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh wait, was that the sequel to this?
Yes.
Ooh, no, fuck that shit. That movie sucked. That movie was
I think Viva Rock Vegas has some like genuine moments. I like the character development of how they met each other and stuff like that. But I get it why it was not famous. It's not the strongest one of the series. Me personally, I like the first Scooby-Doo film compared to the second one, but you know, people have different opinions.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've seen the second one, but I did see the first one.
I'm so fucking stupid, by the way, that when I saw Nostalgia Critic on here, I was like, oh my god, he was in this movie? Like, that's a really good fucking illustration there, dude. That's a little too damn good.
I mean, he's bald and like fucking Barney in the right.
Yeah. Ooh, did they change Fred and
Yep. Everybody.
Oh,
they had to because it was them being younger.
It's like a Dumb and Dumber sequel. The whole like when Harry met Floyd, whatever fuck. I don't know. Yeah, some bullshit.
It wasn't good when they actually brought the original guys back either, though.
It wouldn't be a chat tag if we didn't find the negative of something and that shitty ass sequel. Like no wonder it shouldn't continue on. I was gonna say RJP. What the fuck? Arcane Gamer, aka JP. He says, "Hey Jet, you read the comic Mark Russell did? It was quite good. Who the fuck is Mark Russell?"
No.
No? but who is he? Like, do you know who he is or not?
Was there a live action Jetson
Let
movie?
me see.
Was there?
I'm gonna put comics here because I'm gonna look this up. Mark Russell over here. He does DC Comics. I don't think Jet's into DC Comics. Like, I think he'd rather like read manga and shit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Cause I'm looking over here. Searching through, I can't really find a whole lot, just random links and shit. But yeah, when people do DC stuff, here's my issue with DC. Not to say that any of the stuff is actually bad, and hopefully the chat doesn't disagree with me too much. But the thing is, like, you're telling the same story that everyone has been telling since like 1940, 1950, 1960. And I think that, like, even if you have a cool way to go about a story, your fucking foundation is something that we've already read 1,000 times, and now it's like it's almost impossible to be creative within that space. So you come over here and tell me, "Oh, DC Comics," I'm like, "Yeah, bullshit." Like, I'm sorry, just I'm not looking down on it, but same old shit. But hopefully I'm not. Damn, that's some nerdy ass typing. Who's making fun of me right now at the fucking keyboard? I feel like a dumbass, like as I'm talking, I'm just like, oh.
My tummy keeps growling.
Can
I didn't need
I
it.
be honest? I really do fucking love the Jetson movie.
Which one?
The original one. I think they only had one. Maybe a TV movie where they met the Flintstones, but like in terms of like theatrical release, they only had one, and it was the original Jetson movie.
Oh,
it has a bunch of good songs on there, and Ryan just mentioned it. I know a lot of y'all fans were disappointed, but the Tiffany Popstar, I think she added a lot to the fucking series. Not only that, her music and her like being ahead of the music of this shit really added to it and gave it like a 90s, early 80s flavor that brings me back to a lot of nostalgia when I listen to the music. They have a music video in there called You and Me, and it is a bop to this day. Like I felt like she had just made a music video, and they said, "Hey, can we buy that for a sequence in the movie?"
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Because I don't know if this is the character you're talking about.
Let me see when you pull it up.
Yeah. But no.
Yeah, she played Judy, but what I'm talking about is more of a music sequence where she follows the love interest in the movie.
Okay. It doesn't look too bad. I thought this was gonna look really old and shit, but no. I mean, it's 1990s. Like it looks.
It's really well animated too. Like you could tell they put some money towards it.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh god, look at that face. That's I just shit my pants face if I've ever seen one. Just like, excuse me.
See, Garrett gets me. I used to have the Jetson movie on VHS. Same, Garrett. Ganja, I love the music that Tiffany did in that movie. No, I think she really captured the spirit of like the joyful, like futuristic kind of like 50s doo-wop vibe, but still keeping the synth music of the 80s and early 90s. Mm-hmm. I love the fuck out of it.
By the way, so I don't know what's up with my notifications, dude. I've been having this issue with Streamlabs for, almost forever because they kind of fucking suck. But thank you very much for the not emotes, but the bits and everything, Mike. I really appreciate it. He's saying anime is being ruined by Funimation. Is there anything to that, though, Jet? Because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to anime. But do you think Funimation's kind of having a negative effect on whatever the industry is?
I don't know anything about that so far. Like, all I know is that they license and send out dub anime. So far, so can't really say anything about that.
Yeah, because I'm looking over here, I just typed in Funimation and anime. I mean, it's just as simple as I did it. But I'm thinking, like, if you have something like a Netflix to anime or whatever the fuck we can call these things, I think that's cool because now people like me can be like, oh, what's the new cool thing to talk about or watch or whatever, and it's definitely this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can never go off. Yep, thank you. I can never go off stuff like this because, like, the fact is, like, I just go straight to my anime list and just see what's search for it on whatever free anime site there is and just watch it from there. I rarely ever go to fucking Crunchyroll or Funimation or wherever else they host, like, free licensed anime. I usually go to the more legal sites.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better option.
Or just fucking download the anime.
Yeah, another thing, just to put this out there too, and I don't know if it hurts our ability to watch it if you kind of spread the word, but Chia Anime, I think, is a really good site to watch all the anime you can. As well as they give you lots of access to dubs, but I think, I used to argue with this a lot back in the day of like, oh, who gives a fuck about dubs? Just, even if it's acted bad, like, I want to hear English. No, I will take that back. A lot of the time, those English dubs are fucking terrible. But there's exceptions to the rule. I really love Ippos. I really love Naruto. Oh, by the way, Naruto, where are we at right now, Jet? Like episode 27 or something?
We just finished 26.
Yeah.
Good
dude.
luck.
Yeah, it's a fucking stretch, son. But the show's good. It's just, goddamn. Like,
Gary, the thing about Funimation is they're kind of pushing their feminist agenda in dub anime. What?
they are. I mean, I don't know enough about this shit, but like,
Yeah, I don't know too much about anime, but like, I think that's. I don't know. I just never heard that. Like, okay.
yeah, because like the one thing I will say is that I appreciate, even if we call it a female agenda, I think that if anything else, it's just kind of like zigging while everyone else is zagging, because I am sick of the anime where the girls are like, come and help me, come save me. Ooh, I'm in this really weird, awkward situation. My legs are in the air, my fucking panties are showing, and oh god, I'm gonna get fucked. Like, I hate that. And the animes I've been watching now, they're not doing that. So I don't know if you're saying that is the feminist agenda, but I just like them changing it up. Like, there's so many great.
Are they coming out with like their own original like animes or whatever? Because like that's usually the animes are usually made by that point from mangas and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Funimation is censoring blood, dialogue, and nudity. Well, haven't they always done that? Like, since importing the cartoons over for like Toonami and shit, or Teriyaki, as I called it earlier.
Yeah. Kirk is saying, what fucking cartoons is Nick watching? No, I'm talking about anime. Cartoons-wise, I don't feel like they do it as much, except for the comedies. Like, you look at Big Mouth and fucking Family Guy and all that shit, I'm like, dude, even though they're not doing some weird rapey shit like what I just said earlier, they're still doing shit where, like, if I had a kid, sorry to be that fucking square dad, but, like, I'm not letting my kid fucking watch Family Guy so he can walk around with a big gut, like, hey, it's funny that you can't see my dick, ha ha ha, like, whatever the fuck, it's stupid. Carrie saying, Nick, you're making yourself sound like you like the D. I do. Vitamin D is fucking amazing. You just sit there, let the sun take in on your fucking skin. It's wonderful. Anyways, Roxy, what's your thoughts so far about how we've talked about anime and shit? Like, are you ever sold on these kind of things when we discuss it, or are you kind of like, yeah, it's a good reason why I'm not into it?
Well, I like anime. I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I've watched a couple of your kids' animus or whatever the fuck y'all call them these days. But it's been a minute since I've actually like sit down to watch any of like the new and recent anime that's been coming out.
Yeah, I mean, recommendations-wise, I feel like you should definitely watch something like Death Note, because you're a person who does kind of like your little creepy stories and whatnot, and then like not doing.
I saw it. I didn't like it.
You didn't like Death Note?
Mm-mm.
You son of a bitch.
And let me tell you why.
Why?
Aside from me not liking it, just a girl that I went to high school with bugged the fuck out of me with it. She kept claiming and saying, like, I look just like Misa. Like, we're so perfect. I look exactly like her. She did not. Not in the slightest. And she drove me nuts up a fucking wall with that shit. Every single day she'd come to school dressed up as fucking Misa or Misa-inspired outfits. And I had it up to here. I'm done. I'm done with this shit.
Yeah, man. Emek saying, not to mention they're bringing their SJW influence anime, which I fucking hate. Yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe we'll, I would like to have more of a discussion with that later on, Emek. Maybe you can even do a segment about it.
Yeah.
I'm very...
I think that's just basically creators in general. I wouldn't say that's a Funimation.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're talking about like animes doing that, because like the animes are already like most of the time they're already made in the mangas and stuff like that. So basically anything that they're trying to push is basically written by someone else.
True, but then at the same time, that's one of the things I hated about like these comic book things. And I won't even talk about Marvel. I'll talk about another thing I always bring up, The Walking Dead, where it's like I hate when they had to say, "Oh, we gotta bring this character here, and this person has to die because the comic book said that." It's like, no, if you're doing the same thing the comic book did, then you're just repeating shit that I've already been into. So now I'm just bored. Like, I don't like when they do that shit. When you're adapting something, you're supposed to make it for whatever the medium is that you're making it for. I'm telling you, like Death Note, people complaining about the Netflix movie. If the Netflix movie was anything like the first season of the anime, that Netflix movie would have been way worse. I mean, at least they made Ryuk like an actual fucking creepy villain. You know what I mean? They did some cool stuff with him, and there was a bunch of shit happening all fast. I don't mind the Netflix anime of Death Note. Or not the anime, but the movie. That was fine.
Yep.
You better whip my ass, huh, Jet? Just like...
No, I'm about to say like, oh, terrible opinion.
Yeah. Well... Fuck. You might say they killed Carl in the show, but they still have in the comments that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Yeah, true. I will say though, you know, I like the idea that they're killing off these main characters, but they kind of just replaced his whole stance with Judith, and that was annoying. But I won't get into that because I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, fucking Walking Dead, we hear about that shit." But one thing that we do want to hear about and talk about really quick too is something that's going on in the world. Kind of serious, but not too serious. I want to discuss this idea about the Phoenix area Alamo Drafthouse, which is just Phoenix or just Arizona. It's not all over the place, but
Damn, y'all finally made it to the news for something not involving like immigrants being fucked over and like sheriffs going crazy with power.
yeah. Well, another thing that we got in here too, because like I want to update on this, but remember that story we talked about, the Atari hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Phoenix as well. And who knows what's gonna happen with that now with the
No, you got a good point. That hopefully they get some like grants or some protections from the local state government, because businesses that were opening right when that shit hit, I felt bad. Like I had a nail salon place that opened up down the road. They had their grand open literally 2 days after their grand opening. Everything got shut down.
Yeah, it's fucked.
So
Yeah.
I can only imagine what businesses like that are just starting up and going through.
And more so about anything else, and I don't know too much about California because, to be honest, I have a little bit of a prejudice with California. I think that most people that talk about shit from there are kind of assholes, as far as people that I know, on a personal basis. But, you know, we're so close to California that lots of their shit is going to start affecting us in a sense. And, yeah, they're doing these really weird quarantine things where they're basically saying, like, hey, you can go out to the beach, you can go fishing, but you can't sunbathe. It's like, what the fuck you mean?
California is the Florida of the West Coast, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Exactly.
Preach!
No, seriously. She's like, that's the perfect analogy of the situation. They are basically just the West Side Florida. It's fucking annoying. And it doesn't make sense, all the stupid shit they're doing. There's a bunch of things, too, where, like, you can't have chairs. There's, like, can you please explain to me? And I'm going to have Roxy explain this because she's so close to, you know, the people that had to deal with the situation every single fucking day. Like, she didn't get a break, y'all. She's still working. So, with Roxy here, is there anything that happens with that pandemic that has to do with chairs? Because for some reason, California says if you go anywhere outside, you can go outside, you can walk around, but you can't bring chairs. You will get cited if you have chairs.
Wow, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Personally, with what's going on here, since they just literally had everything reopen, and I'm damn well not going anywhere, I feel like the thing with chairs is people might use a chair to try to get past the whole, like, minimum 6 foot distance, social distancing rule, because they figure like, oh, if I bring like a long ass bench, people are just sitting on the bench. We're not technically violating stuff. And then of course with chairs, people tend to lean in, try to scoot in and keep their kind of little groups contained. So I feel like they're just using it as like kind of like a halfway point to get through it.
Maybe, but like, yeah, I mean, I'm hearing situations too. Like, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast where he's actually talking about moving to Austin, Texas, just to get away from all the stupid shit that's happening in California. Where he was bringing up like people were getting excited because I guess there's now a thing where when you go to the beach, you're allowed to build fences around you.
That's so fucking stupid.
All these dumbass half measures. Get to your point, Nick, but I gotta say something.
I know, it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I can't fucking believe this. And like, I'm a person like, we used to have a guy on our show, Alan. He used to be like the science guy. He would bring things up about shit like this, and I would never like understand it because I'm like, what the fuck, blah blah blah. And now like we've gone so far, it's like if the entire city of Los Angeles or the entire state of California is doing shit like this, am I the stupid one? Is there something I'm really not understanding here? Because like it just doesn't fucking make sense. And then the idea too that we have this shit with the movie theaters. And I've been feeling sorry about these guys. Like, you know, I don't like the idea that movie theaters are going down to share like AMC and everything, but at least I have enough money and enough clout to continue on somehow. But Alamo Drafthouse apparently is only in 3 different states as far as I knew. Maybe I did my research wrong. I don't know. But, you know, I'm looking over here and I'm like, okay, well, you know, you guys, you know, everyone looks at Alamo Drafthouse like it's a completely different experience than AMC. But I did some digging because I've never been to an Alamo Drafthouse before. It's relatively the exact same shit that AMC is. So the fucking tickets to go see movies are $12, sometimes $13. They have fucking Tuesdays and Wednesdays to be, you know, half movie days or even a quarter of the pricing. And
well, especially if you get like a modern AMC, they pretty much have the same food items. They're just not customly named, so you feel like a nerdgasm when you order the fucking Sylvester Stallone bust a nut salad or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Do they still have the little tables though?
They still have the tables, but still, I mean, like, well, how much is that going to cost? Like, you only got to fucking buy that the first time you open. I'm looking at these snacks over here, bottomless popcorn for $8. They ain't shit. You know what I mean?
720 calories?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. Y'all got me fucked up with that.
But this is the stuff they do over here at fucking Alamo Drafthouse. And I'm kind of like, you know what, dudes? You guys were kind of fucking yourselves out of money before this whole thing even happened. Because AMC doesn't do shit like this. Their shit's way more expensive, and you do have to pay for your refills usually. These guys are trying to compete with AMC this entire time, not just for the pandemic, but the last few years of just having bottomless stuff, multiple days a week where you do special showings, all this shit. No, Kurt, this is not AMC. This is actually the Alamo Drafthouse. AMC has cool things as well. And yeah, like what Emax said over here too. Thank you for the bits, by the way. He's saying he heard AMC is not doing too good either. But at the same time, like AMC, I can feel sorry for because, you know, their whole thing is they do fuck you over a lot with the money. Like they got like $8, $10, $12 things popcorn that you have to pay again for, right? And you know, all this crazy shit. But these guys have actually been beating them as far as pricing goes. That's why they've expanded so much into 3 different states. And I'm thinking, like, you know, with this pandemic going down, all you guys really had to do was just kind of stay in there and change your model of making money, because how the fuck were they making money this whole time anyways? Like, at a certain point, I don't really feel too bad for these guys, man. Because they're kind of bad business people.
I mean, if you really want to break it down, the reason that Alamo Drafthouse has been staying around, and Julian brought up the point, it's very centered around, like, kind of a higher class movie going audience that likes to go and be quiet during the movie, give it 100% attention. It's not more of a spectacle. It's more of like an artistic setting. That's why they always notorious for playing like old school movies or having special nights where they bring up some classics from the 50s and 40s and have people come in and put on their fancy glasses and be like, oh, I too remember this movie from film college. And I feel like their model kind of slammed them a little bit because it gives them this intimate setting. If you've ever been to Alamo Drafthouse, they have a very intimate setting where your table can sometimes be shared by another person that you're not even supposed to sit next to. Mm-hmm. And with that being the model, I don't know how they're going to make the system a lot more efficient. I know embassies having a problem. I know airlines are having a problem. Airlines are talking about getting rid of the middle seat in the foreseeable future while this virus is going on. Yeah. So now you only get windows or aisle seats to keep the separation. So they would have to really change up their whole scenario. And honestly, what you're seeing right now, the reason people are so willing to risk being sick and all these different businesses is the American economy wasn't designed for this in mind. We've been, for the last 100 years, have been designed and culturally applicated to a consumer culture that has been pretty much for the last 100 years just been going nonstop without any kind of problems. And with that being said, everyone's accustomed to these businesses being open, and the experience is hell. You've heard your mom say, hey, that McDonald's ain't going anywhere. It'll be there forever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now it was a wake-up call where shit's not going to be there forever. Things can change now. It's a new epoch as far as I'm concerned for humanity and the American economy.
But do you feel like there's a way to figure out who actually needs to help? Because for one thing...
Well, there is, but the problem is there's so many people and there's so much money tied to like the restaurants with the no chair thing. The only reason they're allowing chairs is because they're trying to comply with the order that they're not allowed to do open housing or open seating in certain states. So they get rid of the chairs but allow people to come through and like separate and hang out in different spaces. But what they're doing is they're making it more of a complicated situation than if we just shut down and just actually stick to a quarantine like China, Vietnam, and Cuba did, and a bunch of these other countries, and actually ride this virus out and just focus on more of a human aspect of it, than more focus on getting people back to work, getting the economy back to running, and focus on that later on. Now that we're dealing with the same issue that a lot of countries open prematurely and dealing with a second wave now that's more worse. And that's because of what we're seeing in California, since we're seeing with the Alamo Drafthouse and the different businesses, that they don't have a model that was designed to do this. No one in the last 50 to 80 years dealt with a plague in modern countries to where they had to shut down things. Most Asian countries have. That's why they have a certain number of ways of getting around this. Matter of fact, the way China handled the SARS epidemic was the blueprint of what we're doing now with COVID for the nations that are handling it. But in terms of like us getting the economy back running is being our main focus. So now we're just going to start sacrificing people to get this engine running. But what's going to happen is we're going to get a second wave, and it's just going to be worse, and less people are going to go to work, and we're just going to have to do a lockdown again. It happened in New York, and it's happened in other states now. It's going to happen here in Colorado as well, because they're doing the same move. They listened to the right-wingers with their machine guns to reopen the country. So I don't know what really they're going to do, because let's say like the best case scenario, like our country opens up and Alamo tries to reopen, even with the less standards possible of social distancing. People are not going to go outside. I'm still quarantined. I'm not going out there just because the governor Polis wants me to go to work and make the fucking economy turn back on. I'm not a sacrifice for anybody. Fuck that shit. And a lot of people are feeling that way, especially for restaurants and a lot of these entertainment stuff that honestly, they don't do anything for us. You can live your life without seeing a movie.
Yeah, like that's the biggest thing about this too, because I'm looking over there what Emek was saying too about, you know, wrestling and whatnot, and we'll talk about that more so later on, because I want to kind of go around and get everyone to pay another movie thing. But like to your point too, though, Emek, somewhat, I'll touch on it a little bit, where it's like, you know, people were celebrating. Like, literally, I was at the store today, and people were just like, I'm seeing all these businesses reopen, and there's like crowds outside, and I'm like, dude, like, just because the shit's open doesn't mean that they said we found a cure. And by the way, the word cure is being thrown around like you can even cure a fucking virus. Like, dude,
they make it sound like the T virus. Like they're just waiting for like fucking
Mila
Chris
Djokovic.
Redfield to come running out the sewer with it and shit.
Yeah, or Mila Djokovic as Alice. She comes out one of those fucking like needle things she puts in your arm. Okay, no more corona. It's like, dude, we haven't even found the fucking cure to the flu yet, and it's been kind of like, I don't know, like generations and generations and generations. Like, if we can't figure out how to cure the fucking flu, you think they're gonna find a way to cure this shit within like a couple of months? You fucking morons! Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, this is your reality now. You didn't want to wash your fucking hands. You want to do, oh, it's cool to eat butt and shit, and I don't give a fuck. Well, now look, you fucking morons, you dumb fucks. Now you're all sick. We're all gonna die. But anyways, Rox, I'm gonna ask you though, like, what are your thoughts on this idea? Like, I mean, not just the movie theater situation, but like, I mean, is there anyone who's doing this kind of like not as crazy, not as like desperate as far as like, okay, we're gonna start releasing everybody, no more quarantine? Like, who do you think is doing it right, if there is anybody?
Shit, Garrett can name off a bunch of different countries doing way better than us.
But like, is there anybody
Vietnam, for instance? Wasn't Vietnam one of them? Was that the one with the like traveling to go places where you would step in and you would just like quickly get cleaned off and sanitized?
Oh no, that was Kerala, India. So there's a state in India that they really had a real focus on the virus, and it's the same situation like China. They've had outbreaks before because they're a tropical area, so there's tend to be more of like different type of bacteria and viruses that just happen to live in those biomes. It's just how it is in the world, and they've been developing their healthcare system for the longest. So what they did is they had something called "Break the Chain." It's a communist slogan. They're a communist state.
The Fleetwood Mac song.
Or Fleetwood Mac song. And basically the slogan was, if you go get tested, they all had like random, like, it was like McDonald's the way they set it up. Like, they had these little booths, and you could just walk up and they'll do the test right there and there. Everyone had testing. They had access to testing. They isolated people right away. They had people go to the houses and knock on people's door, like, hey, is anyone feeling sick? Can we check temperatures? They were very proactive and getting to people. The biggest one right now is Vietnam. They had no deaths as well. If they did have deaths, it was complication of old age and not the virus itself. And right now, the country's on edge because they don't want to lose their perfect record. And it's not because someone in Vietnam got sick. It's a British pilot that came to Vietnam that caught the COVID. And they're trying to make sure he doesn't die to count as a death on their statistics.
Yeah.
So a whole country that invested in protecting themselves now has enough resources to make sure that a British citizen doesn't die because they don't want it to be a mark on their perfect record.
Yeah, because
basically, just like to sum it up, capitalism is just basically a game of Jenga. So as soon as like everything's fine, building on top of each other, people are throwing money at it. We're cool, we're building stacks, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong. Someone takes out a piece of that Jenga tower. Shit's falling. What do? Throw more money at it. So you throw more money at it. That don't work. Throw even more. That don't work. Okay, let's save up the money to buy a whole new ass Jenga piece, put it in there, and keep going.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm a capitalist, and I almost disagree with most of the shit that Roxy and Ganja say about these things. But I mean, honestly, yeah, like you're right. Like they're literally just throwing money at a fixed situation. And granted, like I understand the attempt, but it's just like, okay, if it hasn't worked, then let's try something else. Or if not that, like my biggest thing is just like, why are we always taking an extreme to this? Everyone is either way too afraid to even walk out their fucking door, which, by the way, it's like, okay, really quick. Have you guys actually heard about what's going on in the jails right now during all this?
Oh, yeah, it's been fucking horrible.
Okay, see, I'm hearing completely different. That's not horrible. I'm hearing that 90% of the people are actually not getting sick, which 2% is still bad, right? But the thing is, though, is that these people are in there with all these germs, always living like shit, never being able to be fully washed, clean, etc. And their immune systems are able to kind of be as strong as they are, where not a lot of people are getting sick. There's way more people on the outside of the fucking prisons and shit getting sick than there are inside, percentage-wise. And I'm thinking, like, well, the reasoning because of that is because they're in there dealing with it. When you're inside your fucking house, all pampered with your fucking Febreze and your goddamn fucking cheap versions of Clorox wipes and all this shit, and then you go outside and you breathe into a fucking old lady's face, like, you're gonna get each other sick because you're not used to that. Go outside. Get some fucking sun. Like, you know what I mean? It's like everyone took it as, oh, we had to, like, not even leave the fucking house. No one said you had to not leave the fucking house. Just stay away from people and wash your fucking hands. And I feel like no one's really even done that. And now all of a sudden, like, we found the other extreme where it's like, it's May 15th, Arizona's open, everyone rush to fucking Walmart, go buy a burrito. Like, I don't know, like, the streets are so filled right now. It's like, did you guys really want to go outside that fucking bad? Like I don't know, but I mean, what did you
A
hear
lot, a
about
lot
the
of
jails?
people's identities are just wrapped up into the shit they buy and what they can flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like wondering. Like, by the way, what did you hear about jails? By the way, because who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But like,
Well, no,
Over
it's
here. Oh,
okay.
sorry, my bad.
You
Go
got
ahead.
no, you got because you're in Chicago. Those whew,
yeah, you're off.
Basically, over here where I'm at, everything's been doubling
Really?
in the prisons, especially. Because as soon as one outsider comes in and gets it, spreads it around because of their enclosed spaces, because it is dirty, people tend to view them as they're criminals, they belong in there. Why the fuck should we give a fuck about them? Even though it's supposed to be a place of rehabilitation. There isn't any cleanliness going on. They aren't cleaning or disinfecting anything. It's literally like everyone's packed, same old, multiple people to a cell. In some cases, some cells are overflowing. They're not accepting any new people as of this time, but of course, every jail's a little different depending on the state that you're in. So it's literally just a hot box breeding ground for the corona. It's being spread around fucking everywhere, and everyone's getting sick left and right.
Yeah, man.
I know here in Colorado, some of the jails have been horrible hotspots, but they're notorious jails anyways. Like this is one thing we gotta touch on is a lot of jails have different type of governors, type of governorships, type of different boards of control. Uh, Generally, I'm against jails because most of them are just based on around abuse. Like Roxy said, they're not really about rehabilitating. But some jails are worse than others in how they're just more based around punishment rather than actually just keeping you there for a confinement of punishment of
Cook
just like
County is notorious for that too. Cook
yeah.
County Jail.
They just make it extra. They almost make it fucking like either a gulag or a concentration camp level just to add extra punishment because they can or to cut around budgets necessaries that they're required to do. But Emakin brought up a good point. Thank you for the biddies. Tyson chicken factories here in Colorado have actually been some of the worst hotspots. A lot of the meat packing plants, a lot of the areas where they have people side by side just cutting up chicken parts, cutting up different type of meat products for processing later on to your favorite like chicken nugget. It's causing like way more contaminations because some, like I said, some prison systems are better at keeping control than others. Like the one in Aurora is fucking garbage, but I haven't heard nothing from Denver County yet. That's a yet. But I know the Tyson Chicken Factories has outbreaks, and they're constantly making people go back to work. They're a fucking OSHA violation up the ass. A lot of the farms here are doing that. A lot of the grocery farms, so those are the ones that produce apples, different type of seasonal fruits and vegetables that we can only grow here in Colorado during the summertime. That's the real problem right there because you're having people that are part of the workforce as well getting sick. So once people stop caring about them, it's only a matter of time before the jails get even 10 times worse than what their standard is now, even at the best jail.
And Jed, I was going to ask you, by the way, like, how is your family or anybody that you know kind of dealing with it? Like, are you still getting people trying to go outside and not treat this shit like with respect and carefulness, or?
No, people in my house have been going like in and out and stuff like that. The only people who actually like have been staying in their house have just been me and my sister. No one's really taking it as seriously as they should, despite the fact, honestly, even recently, now they actually really should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean like, that's the fucking thing that's crazy to me too, because I've overheard some stuff from your house, and like some, this one particular person will be like, "What they gonna do? Fucking arrest me? Like I'm gonna do?" It's like, dude, are you more concerned about the police arresting you more so than like a virus gets into your system and literally fucking kills you? I think it's a little bit more arresting than the idea of just someone putting some handcuffs on you. Like, it's not about getting cited. It's not about a cop fucking with you because he's bored. It's about the idea that you could die. You could literally die. Like,
he's following the guidelines. He just likes poking buttons.
oh, really? Okay, so he's fucking with you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, then that's good then.
Alpha boys don't get sick, DS.
E-Mike over here saying, isn't that contaminating food to with the coronavirus when you're working at the fucking chicken factory? Dude, the same thing's going on with Maruchan, the top ramen place. And I was so brokenhearted when I heard about this shit. Roxy, did you hear about this?
I did, and I sent you the link.
Oh, that's where I got it from. Yeah, you fucking ruined my whole day that day.
No, Jet told me that you knew beforehand.
Okay, well then shit, I don't know. I was ruined. That's all I'm gonna say. Because here's the thing. Today I actually got me some more top ramen, and luckily my mom was like, "Dude, it's okay, just get it because like the virus probably died off by the time it got to this fucking store." But yeah, the Maruchan fucking ramen. Like yeah, the 7 people got sick at the fucking factory, and it's like, damn, dude, I can't even enjoy my fucking ramen. Do you think at some point did they actually touch the fucking noodles, or is it just the packaging people or whatever?
I feel like at some point they're definitely gonna have to touch it.
So do you think I'll be okay, or do you think I got the Rona because I enjoyed me some fucking chicken flavored ramen?
Yes, you're gonna fucking die. No.
Damn it.
But I feel like if you go onto YouTube, there might be a couple videos on, thank you, E-Mike again,
Yeah, you're really
about
shitting.
how like people actually go through the process of like how it's made.
Mhm.
Because definitely there is some kind of human interaction, but I don't think it's too direct since I think mostly there are like just big old robot parts that do most of the work.
Yeah. Just fondling
But
my noodles.
it has to have some kind of contact, but it's something you gotta watch out for.
I
Just
mean,
to be careful. So like boil it a little longer maybe.
Shit,
Like
you might have a chance
clean
of
off the packaging and shit.
yeah. You might have a chance of Slash bringing that shit into your house.
yeah, dude, my cat, man. Like, cause and by the way, that motherfucker has a sneezing problem at the worst time. I'm like trying, like, hey, what's up, little Slash? He's like, achoo. I'm like, you kill me, you motherfucker.
Grab him up and hang him by the wall. I know you got it, you little bastard.
He licks my
He
hand.
just shows you his butthole as you fucking die on the floor.
Yeah, fuck you. No,
Last
man.
thing you see, bitch.
Has there ever been? Okay, man, I'm not asking all these questions when I should just Google the shit. But hey, we're on the show. Fuck it. Has there been any other cases of pets or animals catching the shit? 'Cause remember, there's a tiger, there's a bird, and then, I don't know what else happened. But like, yeah, is there more like animals getting the shit or?
There's been a couple, but I have to look up like where they're from.
Dogs, tigers, bears.
Yeah.
Oh my. Honest, no, I'm joking. But
Oh
like,
my
what
stupid ass. Well, I'm thinking of a bear. A bear has a
No, but
coronavirus.
definitely dogs, cats, and birds.
yeah, birds can catch it.
Birds catching is the worst thing that can happen. Like you're.
Oh,
That means you're chicken.
hamsters, and baboons.
Kirk, his
For real?
dragon got it.
Yeah.
Damn, my dragon got it. Fuck the dragon. I just picture a dragon all sick and just with the defibrillator.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, man. It's crazy. But like, yeah.
Take care of yourself. Wear a mask, man. My union sent me one in the mail.
Dude, okay.
That's how seriously we're taking this.
So here's the thing. I'm hoping that I don't get sick. I'm being blah, blah, blah. I'm being very socially distant. Thank you for them biddies yet again. He's saying, are you sad to hear the New Japan cancel the best of the Super Juniors? I don't know much about the Super Juniors or New Japan stuff in general, but anytime this shit affects wrestling, it fucking sucks because only so many people are gonna like watch the shit with no audiences and no special events going before the shit even crumbles. So I don't know. We'll talk about that in a bit too. But like, no, I've been very socially distant, but sometimes I can't wear the mask because I have a big face. And when you buy masks at the fucking store, like at the register or whatever, have you guys had the masks that don't cover your mouth and your nose?
All right, so Roxy made fun of me because I put my mask on backwards. But can I be honest?
What's up?
It felt way more comfortable backwards.
Yeah, doesn't it?
I couldn't get the bitch to stay in place, but when I had the chin on the nose and the nose on the chin, it fit.
Yeah. No, I'm having an issue too, dude. And then like I bent over and like I don't know, maybe it's the way I was breathing or what, but like it shot up right into my fucking eye. It's like, man, this is more of a problem than the fucking virus. Like I'll deal with the virus, I guess. Like Jesus Christ. But like, can't they make big masks? Like, what's the problem with this shit? Like, I feel like I'm
Yeah,
wearing
you can
someone's
get
panties
custom
in my
masks,
fucking
but the
mouth.
problem right now is everyone's trying to do it. And not only that, you have like a lot of capitalist venture systems right now that are making like shitty.
You got a big head and little arms.
I know. At least you didn't say like big ass or little dick
Yeah.
or
But
whatever.
a lot of these people now are selling like these custom made masks, and unless they're like 4 times filtered, I think that's what the standard is in order to actually keep certain like bacteria and stuff out of the mask.
Mhm.
Most people are not selling that. They're mostly selling like the most generics, like go rob a liquor store face mask, or I'm walking around in the cold face mask. Like it's actually way scarier thinking people are walking around with protection and they actually don't got protection from like you in a fire, from like a fire like breaking out in the wild and just having to deal with the smoke. You will still die. Like you need actual equipment for this stuff.
You might talking about how you watched something on CBS that they're finding a cure in the coronavirus with llama blood. It's like, man, many llamas like, dude, we're not gonna help shit.
Bro,
Stop
they are
killing us."
throwing everything at this. I saw the other day that they're looking at weed.
Nah, there's
Nah.
stoners.
No, it's not stoners. It's legit scientists from the WHO organization. So apparently, CBD is an anti-inflammatory, and that's what we give to most people that need medical marijuana.
Mhm.
And what it does, it actually lowers the chances of like inflammation in the lungs. So
Really? Okay.
what they've done it for is to use it as therapeutic to calm people's that are suffering from the attack on their lung system. And actually, it's shown some kind of benefits. But then again, it just shows how desperate we are that real scientists like, can we smoke the virus out?
It's fucking stupid. But I mean, I guess
Singing,
try
I was gonna Corona, but then I got high.
Well, like another thing too is I'm looking over here. And you talk about capitalist shit, which I know I agree with them sometimes. But look at this, a pack of 50, $34.99. It's like really, and then if you look at these fucking masks, this doesn't look great.
Did you see that first bullet point?
Where this mask is not intended for medical use, not proven to reduce the transmission of disease. Then what's the point to fucking dress up as Sub-Zero? You fucking idiots! And oh god, it's stupid.
What the fuck would I buy that?
At least it got out of the way. Don't you yell at us when you still get sick.
Don't sue us, bitch.
They'll still try it though.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, fucking stupid. God.
I mean, I don't blame you. You should sue. I'm like, why are you selling masks that don't help people?
Because you guys should have an option to whether
Whether you think you're an idiot or not, I guess.
like honestly, this is the kind of mask you get when like they start telling you on Uber and Lyft, you gotta make sure to wear a mask. Like, fine, fuck you. I wear one, doesn't even help me, bitch, just to shut you up. You know?
Particles of dust. He has a dust mask.
And then like
And these are-
disposable. It's like, okay, disposable. Yeah, like why would I even dispose it if it doesn't change like the value of it, whether I wear it once or wear it 1,000 times? Then why would I even get it?
I think there's a certain number to where your moisture from your mouth eventually lowers the effectiveness of the fiber inside of it.
Mhm.
But at least no
What?
has to protect you before you're.
Fucking.
I just went full Kiko the dolphin. It just broke my mind, so I just went back to the fucking pool. We seen the mask not protecting people. What the fuck is wrong with you, sir?
People watch Free Willy to understand this reference. But yeah, no, and Emac saying, funny thing is that they're wearing protection masks that actually look like the Mortal Kombat mask from the game. They're also wearing swastika masks and
Yeah.
KKK masks. So
Now, do that shit get hit?
yeah, well, no, don't hit them because then get the
In
corona
Fortnite.
chemicals.
Because I know Twitch is particular about certain freedom of speech.
Yeah, apparently, fuck. Yeah, Twitch is just looking for reasons to get rid of people too. It's like, oh fuck, God, pay everyone who wants to make a podcast now. Like, you know what? If you show your titty, you gone. Don't say the word titty. But yeah, I don't know.
Love it, but at the end of the day, it's more bad for us content creators because now everyone's competing for more money.
I know, and then some people are good at it and shit. Ah, fuck. So it is what it is.
And others are not, and they choose to buy bots just to get
Yeah.
more fucking subscriptions, but the views don't add up.
Oh, dude, Matthew, I love the way you say things. He says, "Hello, Nick. Yeah, I came back from the store. Unlike my dad."
Oh,
Oh,
I fucking love you. Rest in peace, bro.
damn, dog. You stopped me in my tracks, bro. Therapy. Have you thought about
He's just getting some cigarettes. He'll be back.
Yeah, it takes a while, bro. He's waiting for the guy in the back to bring him out. Jesus Christ. That's okay, Matthew. Fuck. Since we went that dark, let's talk about this fucking trailer really quick, man. Good old the King of Staten Island. I'm looking at something like this, and right away, oh, that's a stupid fucking scene with the cat and the booty hole thing. But, yeah, I was sold, and Jet called me out on this, which I'm kind of mad about because I think I'm letting my guy crushes come out too often. But I was like, Jay, you gotta watch this trailer. And she's like, why? Because your boy fucking Bill Burr's in it? I'm like, yeah. So, kind of put me out there on Front Street. But this is about Pete Davidson. And I guess it's based on his real life. The fact that his dad died in September 11th, the whole bombing thing or whatever. And, yeah, how his mom just kind of moved on. How he's kind of like, the man of the house and dealing with this fucking Bill Burr character, which is a stepdad. And it seems pretty sad and intense, except for the fact that every Judge Apatow-ish thing they could put in here is in the movie. So you're watching basically a Seth Rogen comedy without the Seth Rogen.
Not only that, like in the trailer, I don't know if you got this vibe, but I feel like Pete is just a spoiled brat. Because like when I first heard Bill Burr was going to be in this, I was like, oh, he's going to be a fucking asshole stepdad.
Yeah.
No, from the trailer, maybe in the movie he is, but from the trailer, he seems like a nice guy who's just like wants a life with his mom and just want to be around his kids and just like wondering why this kid has a fucking uppity attitude with him.
Yeah.
He's a grown man. Like, you're 24. Why do you still care if your mom's dating someone else?
Well, it's a big thing too that I want to bring up in general is like I don't.
I thought that was Adam Sandler when I first saw that. By the way, the guy that punched Pete Davidson.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of this too, and I'm like, overall, when I was growing up, a big thing about stepdads is like, you're not my dad. You're not fucking. I was like, well, you know what? Why don't you get your real dad? Oh, I forgot he left. Oh, So fuck you, because there is a man here that's actually caring for you and paying the
He
fucking
just went to go
bills.
get cigarettes. I'll be back.
Yeah, like Matthew's dad. No, I'm just playing Matthew. I love you. But
Damn, assaulted audience, daddy issues.
damn, it's fucked up. No, I'm just playing. I'll be your dad, Matthew, but don't turn that into a weird thing. But I'm looking at a situation like this, and it's like I almost don't feel for this character of Pete Davidson because, for one, I know him in real life. I think Pete Davidson is an annoying comedian who says the worst possible shit. He's an edgelord.
For a second, I thought you meant like you met him on a personal level. I was like, when? And you did not tell us this story.
We used to drink, apple juice together. No, no, but it's like one of those things where I don't like the idea of no matter what, if it's a stepdad, you get to treat him as a villain because he's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And it's like most of the time it's not the case. You just have this loyalty to your actual dad, and you're giving this other person a hard time when they already have enough to fucking deal with. And if that's going to be the whole movie here, then I don't really give a fuck about the protagonist before I even get into this. The fact, too, that his character is trying to be a stand-up comedian, Pete Davidson in real life is a shitty stand-up comedian. I'm telling you, I'm letting too much real-life shit get in the way of seeing this movie because I literally do not like Pete Davidson. And I heard some bad shit, too, went on with him and Ariana Grande as well. So there's a lot of shit that's just kind of like, it's clouding my judgment. But Roxanne, what do you feel about this? And do you know a lot about Pete Davidson?
I do, and I really don't like Pete Davidson.
Does it get in the way of any kind of hype for this movie because you don't like him and yet it's his story full on?
Okay, I didn't know it was his story full on. When I first watched the trailer, I'm just like, okay, so we're just watching Pete Davidson play Pete Davidson with some old-ass Disney stars and Steve Buscemi and Bill Burr. Okay. Because you know the dude that had the butthole tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
That's Moises Arias. That was the dude that played Rico in Hannah Montana.
Oh, okay, shit, I didn't even know. Yeah, I don't
So,
know who that person is,
dude grew up fucking weird, lanky as shit.
Mm-hmm.
He has that crackhead body. But anyways, I really don't care for him. But Judd Apatow is basically like the modern day John Hughes with all the shit that he's been doing. Like I've seen some of his stuff before, like the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I've seen that. Knocked Up. I've seen that. Freaks and Geeks, which is a series that I really enjoyed. But I really don't care about Pete Davidson. Maybe I'll give it like a half-ass watch, but I just don't want to see Pete Davidson win. I don't like him. I think he's an asshole, honestly.
Yeah, Jet,
The best part was watching Bill Burr throw him into the pool.
Yeah, I know, right? That's fucking great. Especially
And then he said,
shit.
bro, I'm like 5'8". You're 6'4", tall as fuck. I threw you in there. She ain't gonna believe you.
Exactly.
But the thing with his dad dying in 9/11, I did know about that because he's been in a lot of Comedy Central roasts in the past. And of course, it's like the one go-to roast that everyone has to do when he's on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Jet, I know you do not like Pete Davidson, but any thoughts on this in particular?
All I know is that he has a big penis, and that he's an asshole.
Wait, what?
What?
He has a big penis? When did he say this? Or Ariana Grande say this?
Is everyone hanging out with Pete
Grande,
Davidson except me?
But what'd you say, Jet?
His ex-girlfriend did.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. I mean, I guess that's a good thing, right? Hey, you got a big penis. Like, we'll have this in the movie.
No, that ain't all it.
I'm looking at this though, because Ganja, I mean, you have followed Judd Apatow's shit, whatever the fuck. Like, are you liking the feel of this? Because that's what Chris Ayers said in the chat about him liking the feel of it. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and, kind of tell me how you feel about it.
Well, the problem with it is a Judge Apatow film. You're gonna like the feel of it. He's like Roxy says, he's our John Hughes. Like he's the one that's created a lot of the childhood memories that, when it comes to films and people trying to get the idea of our generation growing up, he was probably the closest that got to it with 30-Year-Old Virgin for the 30-year-olds, and then for my generation, Superbad, because I was basically fucking like Seth. I was a nasty ass little fat boy growing up. So it was like to see it now get to the point where I'm starting to see the Apatowisms in it, and it's starting to repeat itself. I just think it's honestly, I feel like this is what happened with John Hughes towards the end. Like, unless this movie's actually good, it's just going to be a repeat of all his famous aesthetics and his famous slick writtens. Whether good or bad, it's just going to be a repeat of the same thing we saw from his other Judge Apatow films. Because me personally, I don't like funny people. The Adam Sandler film?
I never got to see it, by the way.
I thought it was very self-grandizing and very like blowing itself when it comes to like the comedy world and trying to be a comedian. And like, yeah, when you're young,
out to be interesting, like, oh, we all suffer because we're
it's only interesting if you want to be a comedian. Anyone outside that fucking hobby or career path is just like, okay, so you're just an asshole who wants to talk shit to people at the bars at night. And you feel like you're a struggling artist. Okay.
Yeah. And I
Don't
mean,
get me
like,
wrong, I still want to be a comedian, but at the end of the day, I still know I'm just telling dick jokes to drunks in a fucking bar.
and you sold me on that concept just that alone. Even though you're talking negatively, it worked on me. But my thing is too, is like it's just like talking about a fucking like that the wrestler movie. It's probably a stupid movie to be honest, right? But like I
Yeah.
care about this subject, so that's why I like it. But like if you don't know already how the wrestling business works and all this other shit, you're not gonna like the wrestler. You're not gonna like Beyond the Mat or Ready to Rumble. You know, you gotta be into it. And with stand-up comedy, I mean, because here's the thing: this movie's called King of Staten Island. It's gonna be mostly about his friends, you know, everyone knowing him in the neighborhood or even in Staten Island. So that's probably why this movie's gonna be good for pretty much everybody. But if this movie goes into like him being a stand-up comedian and all his like Davidson isms, this is gonna be bad because as you saw here, just between me, Jet, and Roxy, we don't like this dude. So why the fuck are you gonna? It's like reading a book about somebody you don't like. It's like I'm not gonna go through this whole journey with you, and then like the entire time I'm challenging myself to say fuck you. I want to put this down. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like I don't know, man. I don't like that. It's this whole thing, but Judge Apatow makes things really, really funny. He's able to build a really good cast with all of his stuff. I always like the non-main characters most of the time. And you have a strong non-main cast here. Like you got fucking Steve Buscemi, Bill Burr, some other people here. They could save this movie big time, and we might not have to spend that much time with Pete Davidson. But what were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say, like, I think honestly, I also have a bias against towards these films because I'm noticing, like I said, there's a lot of repeats that are going on in Hollywood now, and I think it's because they've noticed a trend or analytics that gets the numbers for people's viewership, and they're going for that because it just sells all the time. It's the same reason like people do on YouTube and do TikTok trend videos. Well, even we do it sometimes just to get the most views and likes because that's what the god of analytics loves, and they'll push it harder on the main page or make more for recommendations. But honestly, like I've noticed a trend now when it comes to like wild white comedians is when it comes to them and their movies or their TV shows, they have to invent a struggle for them.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one is Lil Dicky, for example. If you watch the show, I haven't watched it yet. I've watched clips of it, and if you watch the clips, I know you got to get the whole context, but this is just my point of view from the clips. It feels like the same kind of shows where you have to make the character either so unlikable or make them so inept as something that you feel bad for them, and through there they have a struggle that you can root against them being the underdog for.
Mate, really
But at the
Corey's calling me, but continue on. Be right back.
but at the end of the day, their struggle is inept. Like Lil Dicky's character in the show, his dick was mangled by a fucking by a doctor or some shit, and he has like bad confidence. It's not like anything like poverty related or anything like actually based in like material struggle. It's just my dick don't work. Same thing with Pete Davidson here. Like a lot of his struggle is coming from the fact that his dad died in 9/11, and I'm not going to discount that 'cause one, that's fucked up, and two, it's a fact of his life, so I get him bringing it up. But in terms of like making us feel bad for a stay-at-home mama's boy, if you get rid of the aspect of the father figure dying and this extravagant bad thing that happened to him, he's no different than the frat boys movies we saw with 40-Year-Old Virgin or the ones with Will Ferrell, who with what's this brothers, the brother movie, what was it called?
Step Brother.
Step Brothers. Like these are artificial struggles, and it's just to make people feel like, hey, I feel the same pain he does. Like I'm a struggling artist when you're just a generic white dude, bro.
My whole thing is like, even watching this trailer, like the mom basically being like, "Yeah, like why do you care that I date other people? Like you're 24." Like that shit always makes me mad. Like not on her side, like I'm on her side. More just like, why do you care? Like that she's going out and fucking dating and shit. Like I've seen this in other like shows and cartoons too. Just like have they not been around people who basically never like date again after like basically either breaking up or losing someone, and after like 10 years they become some of the most annoying people ever? I've had like 5 counts of that where they are probably the most insufferable people in the fucking world. It's like, yeah, I'm going on a date. No, you're going on a date. I thought you were gonna come over. Basically, like I thought we were gonna watch a movie or something. Like,
Yeah.
dang, only ass.
No, but really though, that is like a really annoying fucking character trait. And I mean, we see so many people like that in real life. But like, yeah, like in these fucking movies, if that's gonna be your whole theme, you know, it's like, okay, we've seen that 1,000 times. How many fucking movies in the 90s have that same premise where it's like, I grew up to be a fucking psychopath and a social outcast because my mom wanted to get
I'm
dick.
really upset. Can you come over? What you upset about? My ex. The one that you broke up with 2 years ago? Yeah, I can't get him out of my mind. Damn, bitch, you don't fucking move on.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with this fucking movie? I do hope that it's gonna be cool. But I mean, hey, like, here's the biggest thing about this too is like I'm over here being hyped about Bill Burr and everything, but like, is he really gonna have room to do his Bill Burrisms? Probably not. You know what I mean? So probably hyping myself up for no fucking reason. But here's the thing though, we're gonna bring up this one last thing before we get into the after hours and hang out with you guys over there in the chat, and watch music videos and shoot the shit all fucking night till probably 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. But this guy, I don't know who the fuck this is, so sorry, I didn't do a lot of research on this. It's not even part of a Google Docs. I'm just kind of basing off of what's happening in the chat here. But Luca Guadagnino will direct the Coen Brothers Scarface. I don't know much about this guy at all, but here's the thing. Coen Brothers doing Scarface is cool, but I've heard so many things about this particular fucking remake. I've heard that Antoine Fuqua, the guy who did Training Day, was going to do it. I heard rumors about David Ayers was going to do it at a certain point. The guy who did Suicide Squad and did lots of Cholo movies back in the day. I don't think anyone agrees on how to base this Scarface character off of, because I know it's not going to be a Cuban Scarface, which is a bad idea, by the way. Like, it should be a Cuban Scarface or Italian. But we talked about a black Scarface. We're talking about, other, I don't even know the names of some of these other ethnicities. But shouldn't they stick to, like, what made Scarface the most well-known fucking thing? Like, Ganja gonna have you go, take a go at this. What do you expect and what do you want to see out of the Coen Brothers Scarface?
Honestly, that's because what I was saying earlier. It's just a repeat and a remake and a rehash. Like they're just trying to find ways to bring these properties back up because they're well known and they're well loved. I know that the original Scarface that we all talk about, the Al Pacino one, was a remake from the ones from the 30s, but it was so wrapped up in its own current time and its own like essence of what was going on in Miami in the 80s that to try to recreate what you felt with that last Scarface, it's not going to be. It's going to be like the RoboCop remake. People are going to like it. People are going to select some of the aesthetics. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be the same magic that the original was. And it's just Hollywood trying to regurgitate fucking IPs in order to keep the profits going because they're afraid of doing anything creative because it might bust. And movies have gotten so expensive to make now that they can't really risk high budget, high actor type of films that are just going to put them $1 million in debts.
Well, here's the thing, too, is that you're talking about that in the sense of, like, hey, this is made by Universal, and all the shit that's going on with that, I'm guaranteeing you that Universal's not going to put a lot of money into this. And I think that's the reason why they got Luca over here, because this guy has done movies like Call Me By Your Name, which, good God, I hate that fucking movie. I fucking hate that fucking movie.
So Scarface is going to either hook up with his sister or he's going to hook up with an underage prostitute.
Let's not talk shit, though. 1980 Scarface was really overly protective of his sister. Like,
no. Like, they implied it there. He's going to actually hook up with her.
You want to fuck me, Tony? You want to fuck me? Yes, I want to. Fucking just shooting all over the place. Fucking Mexican Gary Eakin and shit. You fuck birds,
I can't wait for the Push It to the Limit cover by Billie Eilish. Fuck you, Kurt. You know they're going to do that shit, too.
Push it to the limit. Roxy, I'm not asking you this because of color of your skin. I swear to God.
This movie ain't even about Mexicans. It's about Cubans.
Well, I know, but we could be, if we lied in Florida and said we're Cuban, man, like they'll believe us.
No, they wouldn't.
They believe me a little bit because I dropped the accent.
They'll look at you all crazy like white boy if you're trying to be Cuban.
But what are you feeling about this, Roxy?
My biggest question is, like, Scarface was heavily based around not just the fact that it was the whole drug lord thing, but about his experience as being a Cuban and the whole thing going on at that point and period in time. It was a very strong talking point. It's basically the whole driving force, like, behind Scarface. It's not just a drug movie. There's, like, the whole point is, like, dude came from Cuba, everything that was going on over there. So coming into Miami, struggling, trying to find like ways to make money to try to make sure that he got that respect. Because, it ties into a little bit of machismo as well. He wanted that respect. He wanted that money. He wanted that power. He wanted to chase the American dream. So what does he do? Get into drugs. So how are you going to make this new? Is it going to be the same thing? Are you going to touch on the whole Cuban thing that happened in the 80s, or are you going to touch on something modern? And if you are going to touch on something modern, what are you going to touch on?
Yeah, because here's another thing too.
That's my question.
This world is not as flamboyant and fantastical as it was back in 1980.
It's not as neon.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like part of this movie really lives within the 80s, and some people actually get their whole like 80s tech noir or whatever the fuck shit from.
If you love Vice City,
You'll love this. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all Scarface. It's all that Neon Miami Hotline shit.
Yeah. So
even
like,
Hotline Miami's that.
Yeah, but like, how are they gonna modernize that to now? And another thing too, especially what Roxy said, and I'm gonna say this incorrectly, but like in the beginning of the movie, there's like this really intense scene where they're trying to kill somebody out of their freedom, and they're saying like Empaga, like I don't know how the fuck to say it, but they're saying this thing, and everyone's chanting, and then everyone's like, it's like anybody from that place could have been Scarface. It's not about how Tony Montana is so fucking crazy that he's Scarface. His whole group were fucking crazy guys, just trying to fucking live in this crazy world that is America. So, like, yeah, dude, they're going to miss the point. Like, I don't want this thing where, like, maybe, like, a white character, black character, whatever the fuck character comes in, and since they have the name of Scarface, I'm magically just a badass, like Rambo or John McClane or the Terminator. Like, it's just, no, there's a bigger story here. It's not, the movie's called Scarface, but it's not super really about Scarface. It's the world is yours.
Honestly,
and Miami now is ugly, too. The people are ugly. The new background location, this whole idea that they have for Miami is ugly. It's fucking ugly. How the fuck are you going to turn that into a classic or make it look good on screen?
Yeah, no, exactly. And how are you going to do things like these drug scenes? Like, here's the thing, man. Back in the day, I feel like this really got people to be like, what the fuck? Like the chainsaw scene? There was horror movies that weren't as intense. I mean, you look at 1970s Texas Chainsaw Massacre had no blood. Here, they cut a motherfucker up with a chainsaw in the first 20 minutes of the movie, and there's blood all over the fucking room. They're thrusting the chainsaw after it slid through the guy's body up against Tony's face. It was intense. I'm guaranteeing you, this movie ain't gonna be like Hostel or whatever. They're not gonna beat that. You know what I mean? So
probably that the drug culture has changed so fucking much
with the phones.
Like
they still do phones, but it's more.
They still do phones, but like, babe, the Scarface being the big name on the block kind of shit, that's out. You don't want to be the guy that everyone knows first and last name basis anymore. And the thought of like, okay, so he's a drug dealer, he's got a drug empire. Most drug dealers and most drug empires now are online. So are you gonna do some dark internet shit where like they're gonna be shipping shit through
like
the mail?
He's gonna get head while he's typing the computer. Oh
yeah,
it's nothing like how it used to be either. At least back then there was some fucking respect.
They don't even do the fucking naked women cutting up the coke anymore. Like all the aesthetics people know from those early drug movies, that's not the drug scene anymore. It hasn't been that since the fucking early 90s when Tupac was still doing the fucking Humpty Dump.
And audiences are going to be so pissed off too, because here's what they're going to do here, and I'm not even against it, by the way, but it's like they should have a female in a position in this movie that's not like, hey, you give me some fucking water, bitch. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll go over there and not have any kind of fucking rebuttal. Like, people are going to be mad if this is like something like women are driving the fucking story. Oh, it's another one of those fucking female-led, like, we call those like feminist agenda fucking movies. Like, so you can't do the badass shit that Tony would do where he's talking to Sharon Stone the way he is or whatever. You're not going to be able to do any of that anymore. Mm-hmm. Or no, not Sharon Stone, Michelle Pfeiffer, my bad. But yeah, you're not going to be able to do that kind of shit anymore. People are going to get mad about it. And they're going to have the opposite of that. People are going to get mad if you don't do that. So it's like, there's only 50% of the audience are going to be able to entertain. Then you got this huge story. Keep in mind, people, we don't know what happened with Tony's mom, Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Did she have a kid? Who knows? Did he finally impregnate her and it was too late because he fucking died? Did the kid go on to live the life that his dad did? Like, there's a lot of story here that there's.
Well, not even that. Like, let's say you want to move from Tony, and like they want to continue with the trend of what they established after they made it a Cuban story from an Italian story. They want to do the new people that are dealing with the shit, that are struggling in this country, that are the oppressed people that are trying to rise up through the drug game. Cubans, Mexicans, like, you can't do that with them in Miami anymore. If you were to do this movie in the Miami that exists now, he has to be either Dominican or fucking Haitian. They're the only ones that are really about this scene at the moment down there. Like, you have Zone Nation, Zopound, all these other groups that if I keep down their names out, I might get shot in certain areas. But
yeah, don't be like Rick Ross.
Yeah, but it's the certain fact of life. Like, down there, those are people who are moving shit. Like, the action's in Okalaka. The actions is not in fucking Little Haiti not Little Haiti. The action's there now, but it's not in Little Havana anymore. Most of the Scarface populations, if they didn't like get caught, arrested and shit, they're the ones that own car dealerships now, and are part of the fucking middle class of fucking Miami, who talk about their glorious days of moving weight. Like, those people don't exist anymore. So unless this is a hardcore like nostalgia film, it's not going to work in a modern context because if not, you're just going to turn to Narcos.
But you know what? You're right though. Making this an '80s movie might be cool, but once again, this happened too late. I'm sick of the '80s. We've already passed that whole surge of '80s this, '80s that. Like, all right, stop with the nostalgia. Let's fucking move on. So, yeah, I mean, do you think that if they did that, if they did just do another '80s movie, would that be a good thing or a bad thing in your opinion?
I don't think it'll work either because, like you said, like the '80s has been done to death. Like we might like us old heads of Vice City and shit like that. The only reason I want Vice City to take place in for when Grand Theft Auto goes back to Vice City, if they do, the only reason I've argued with Alan on that is because they have to do that because the Miami of now is not the same energy unless you really want to just go all out and include Orlando and all the other scenes and all the other fucking environments that are in Florida, but it's a really Miami focused one. You can't do it anymore. Miami is just like California. Miami's just like New York City. If you've been to Miami, you've been to New York City. If you've been to New York City, you've been to LA.
Basic as hell. The people are ugly. The whole place is ugly. And let me tell you, the people are really fucking ugly. And not just in a physical sense.
He's just talking about me.
Inside and out. It's literally walking garbage bags, wearing the fucking levanta culo jeans with the fucking fake ass like panties with the bud padding, the whole fucking bras overstuffed. You know that shit fake as fucking hell, but they still want to act like it's fucking real. And the same thing with the dudes. They want to sit here and floss like they fucking got money. Oh, big deal. I'm standing in front of the Ferrari store. I got it like that. No, you fucking don't.
Yeah, I actually really
You do not.
Yeah, it's bad. And by the way, look, I'm not saying anything's wrong with Spanish, right? But give me an option when I go to a fucking machine and it's all in Espanol. It's like, dude, have the name says in English mode or whatever. Like, what the fuck, right? And then,
English mode?
Whatever. I don't know what it's called.
You mean English?
Well, English, like, right? You're supposed to say it like
That's
that.
English. That's Spanish, dog.
No, I know, but like, like when everything's in Spanish and like you have to go down and like getting options and bombs, like.
I know. I'm trying to make you look retarded, dog. Stop arguing.
I know. Well, stop it, Hans.
When someone asks you if you want a Sprite, you want someone to ask you Sprite, not Sprite.
Stupid.
Is that what you want?
If you say yes, that's a very, very hardcore national
here's
shit
the problem,
there.
though. No, because here's the thing. In Arizona, it's the same way. Like for a while, dude, like it was like 10 years where I'm like, I was got this weird anxiety that the person speaking to me at the English McDonald's place, that everything's spelled in American, that the guy will answer the fucking thing like, hello, what do you want from the... I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? Like, your guys' like little phone thing, I can barely hear English people. Now, you're asking me like, yeah, you want to let the Sprite... It's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Like, my favorite is my mom and my dad when we used to go to the drive-thru. And we used to get that happen where my dad always drives. So he would be the first one to pull up to the fucking thing. And depending on how thick the accent is, he just look over to mom and be like, "You're gonna have to order, man. You heard that?"
Yeah.
You're gonna do that with me too.
I am. I will continue the tradition until I learn how to use the lingo properly.
Dude, all I know is like you don't have to take a whole English class. I totally support Mexicans that are from another country.
Why you gotta be Mexicans?
Because for no offense, but like I never had an Asian person.
Why it has to be just only Mexicans? There's more people in Latino America. There's Colombians, Venezuelans, Ecuadorians, Guatemalans.
But in Arizona, like they're not gonna travel.
The fucking Spaniards.
I never met like a Spaniard in my whole life. Like, I swear to God.
It's because they have a certain accent. They eat up their E's in their language.
Well, like same with Cubans. I feel like they land in Florida and they're like, oh fuck it, let's stay here. But like we're right next to Mexico.
They did.
So like, God damn it, why'd you ask that, Roxanne? Now even the white person ruined Jenny.
Because in Florida, there's no Mexicans. They're all Colombians, Venezuelans, and fucking Guatemalans. You can tell by the accents.
All I'm saying is that when I go to the drive-thru, like, or let me.
Oh my God!
What I'm saying is, if I work there and I'm a manager and I'm hiring these people, I support Mexicans being or anybody being hired.
See, you keep going back with the Mexicans again.
Because that's my experience. But here's the thing. Okay, let's just say anybody else that's not Mexican, right? Still, like, let's read the menu together.
You're still bringing up Mexicans.
Anybody. You come in.
No, you still say anybody that isn't Mexican. I mean anybody. I mean Mexicans.
Anybody who's not American, if they come in to get a job, I feel like one of the first things you should do is like,
why they gotta be American?
Oh, you son of a bitch! If you put the menu down, you're like, okay, why should I hire you? Blah blah blah. What do you see yourself in 10 years? Oh, by the way, can you read the shit on this menu? Like Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Sprite, water. Like, read the shit.
They're still reading it. It's just hard for them to learn a whole new ass, confusing ass language. So because of their native language, they're going to have an accent.
Then have a non-American hiring process where they, like, I don't know, learn to do the job. It's just, you know, like...
They do the job. It's just because you're paranoid and you think that they're talking shit about you. That's why you're mad.
I've worked at a place like that, and they do talk shit and people don't understand. It's like... something.
Not all the time.
Sometimes they do. You saw that. We were in Miami, and you're like, "Oh, I hear what you're saying, bitch. You're speaking Spanish." They might have not been Spanish
because they are directly looking at us, and they weren't in the service industry. These were some uppity, bougie ass bitches and some fucking ugly ass dudes who try to act like they got money, saying shit about us specifically. Every single time we went to a restaurant, I didn't hear nothing from the waiters or waitresses or like people in the kitchen. What?
You probably just heard people like talking about me. Oh yeah, look at fucking Gorrito over here, or Gordo, whatever the fucking titty boy.
You just said Gorrito. Gorrito's basically a little hat.
Yeah, that too. I had a little hat on me. I'm just playing. No.
Bitch, we wear no goddamn hat.
No, but like Gordo, right? Is that like a fucking thing?
Gordo is just like fat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You probably heard that a bunch. Hey, look at fucking Gordo over here with the fucking potatoes. El potato.
They never once called you fat.
Oh, okay. I was looking at them. I felt fat eyes. I just looked at them like, I know they're probably looking at me like, hey, look at fat fuck over here with this fucking soda.
Not everyone wants to fight you.
I know.
I don't want to talk shit.
Yeah.
Hey, pot, kettle. How y'all doing?
Yeah. The reason why she's able to like say these things probably people is because she thinks exactly fucking like me. She likes to think that she doesn't. That's the thing. She likes to pretend that she's fucking normal. No,
I never said. Look, you have basically said this, and I have said this as well. We are basically like brother and sister by how much we agree on things. But when it comes to this, he's basically mad because I can speak another language.
A little bit, yeah, because it's a fucking cheat code. You over here being able to like read people's minds and shit when they're like talking shit, like, oh, look at this, and it's like, oh, I know what you said. I want to know. Fuck. God damn
I'm telling you guys, I told you every single time someone talks shit about us, I would directly tell you guys, yeah, that person in the pink shirt or whatever said this, and that.
You never told me, because you know you're probably afraid I was going to say something, and I wouldn't be able to win the fight.
I did tell you.
I wasn't listening, Roxy.
So that's your own fault.
I'm starting to realize that. Oh, shut up!
You want to talk about that Scooby-Doo?
Anyway, Scarface. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Fuck you.
I thought we were talking about Bubbleboy.
Yeah, we're talking about Bubbleboy too in a bit. One thing I want to bring up though, because Ian Mike asked a question about something. I forgot what it was. Let me scroll up in this fucking thing over here, man.
You know, Ian Mike, we all have Facebooks you can add and send us questions to, man. If you don't have to just wait till to send us a surge of questions here at Twitch.
Yeah, but no, let me see if I can find this shit, though, because my whole thing's fucking up over here, because I'm stupid, okay? I'm stupid. He said, your thoughts on Disney doing a live-action Dragon Ball Z movie. Bad idea.
Fucking what?
Trash.
I still have PTSD when Sony did it.
No.
Yeah, dude, not a good idea. But, I mean, I'll let you guys, Jet, why don't you tell us why that's a bad idea? Because maybe...
Did you not see the last Dragon Ball movie?
Have you not noticed that sometimes things are bad and then someone else says and it's good?
Bitch, I will slap you.
I'm sorry. Well, no, look at Scorpion's Revenge. We saw Mortal Kombat Annihilation and Defenders of the Realm. Everyone thinks those are bad.
That is cartoon. We are talking about live action. There was already a live action fucking Dragon Ball Z movie.
But if we don't let people give it a chance, maybe, maybe there's something there that you haven't seen yet.
Disney has not had a good track record of movies based on things recently.
Yeah, tell that to their wallet where they fucking make everything and they make it tons of money. Everyone's like, oh, Disney did it, so that means it's good then.
Say that to the last fucking 2 Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Oh, shit, Chris. Is that from We Got This Covered? So, man, shit. My bad. Yeah, Bob, you got the news from We Got This Covered. Shit. Sorry.
Oh, wow. I can't believe that. You got something from We Got This Covered and then basically sold it to us.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, I still think it's a good conversation to think that maybe Disney can do something with them. Like, would you be...
And the problem is I literally believe that because there's so many fucking anime movies coming out recently that are in development. I'm just like, why?
Well, that comes with the idea of, like, yo, you're... I mean, the country just died. It's okay, bro. No,
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing. way you quoted them, I'm gonna start quoting Hip Hop Nation now for every ghetto shit I learned.
Okay, Hip Hop Nation is fine. Fuck you. Comicbook.com is good too. You guys talk shit about comic book. No. Comicbook.com and fucking popculture.com. That's a good site. And yeah, there's some shit that's fake. Well, yeah, you gotta make money somehow.
If you want to be honest, all news can be fake at a certain point in time. It all depends on the bias of the editor or the fucking person making the hit piece. But I find it funny the first one you went with that. Because we got this covered. Because that's notoriously bad, bro.
They told me they had it covered. I decided to believe them. Fuck you.
But you're right. It's a good conversational piece because it's something you're going to have to deal with in the near future. You don't think Disney's not looking at that?
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think that, because Jets, we were complaining about everyone doing like anime adaptions, but it's like, that's what happens.
They're trying to do One Punch Man right now, and they're trying to do Naruto and One Piece. They need to stop.
Well, no, they don't need to stop because that's what happens when shit gets popular. It's like, did anyone feel that way with the comic book movies? Like, oh, first it was Iron Man, now it's Thor, now it's Captain America. Cut it out. It's like, well, dude, they're building something here.
Martin did. He thought they were all one-offs, and Avengers wasn't going to be a thing.
Well, shit. I don't know, but okay, like, let me ask you this then.
They're still very bad. Like, right now, like, anime movies are still pretty bad.
But it always starts bad until it gets good, though. You have to start from somewhere. Like, first off, they start on the fucking Netflix. Granted, there's not gonna be so many money put into those Netflix movies, so obviously it's gonna be bad, like Bleach, My Hero Academia, all that shit. But I mean, once they start putting money into something like, I mean, dude, you know what I'd really like to see? A fucking My Hero Academia movie. That and a live action My Hero Academia movie. Would that
You're
not be fucking
gonna
amazing?
say that, and then you're gonna want to take it back later
Nope.
when they finally make it.
Well, they make it bad, but I can't say it's gonna be bad right away because we don't know yet. This is tailor made for a fucking movie, dude. Especially if you change Gon, his character. No, not Gon. Fuck, Deku. If you change his character around, I know I get confused in Hunter x Hunter. But yeah, don't make him such a fucking whimper. He's like, oh god, oh my dick's hard. I don't know what to do with it.
That's literally his character. What?
But if they
Next
change
thing it's gonna end up like fucking Dragon, like that fucking Dragon Ball anime
if they change it,
movie that they made.
if they change it, it might be cool. It might be cool.
It wasn't. It was terrible.
If they change it, it could be cool. You gotta give
That's
things a chance.
the problem. They make changes and they're terrible.
We'll see what happens. Another thing you might brought up is, sorry for what I've heard. The guy who did Pacific Rim is trying to do a live action Evangelion movie, but that's just what you heard on the internet. Evangelion, I don't know shit about this. Shut the fuck! I know.
Oh my god, he died.
I'm quitting this fucking show.
That's Evangelion.
Is that right?
It's time to fake news. Yo, I heard on the street. I'm tired now.
I mean, the streets is a good way to learn new things going on.
What do you guys think about this? I don't know what to say anymore. I feel stupid. This is cool. It looks cool. Yeah, I think you got that.
So the thing about Evangelion is that it actually could possibly work, but the thing is you gotta keep the fucking characters the same. This show is literally like fucking Depression. If you change shit too much, it's not gonna come out right.
But if it's Depression, here's my thing: is like you got all these fucking like Dragon Ball Z and everything. It's gonna be so like testosterone filled, and yeah, power over 9,000.
You make this testosterone filled, it is going to fail. That is not what Evangelion is about.
That's what I'm saying. It's like all those other ones are testosterone filled. This being depression, just being sadder. I feel like this might be way better because it's counter programming. You know, what I mean, people are going to be.
The main character has to stay a complete fucking crybaby and a horrible person. Like, you can't change that.
I think that's fine. I think that, yeah, you leave it like the way it is. Make it fucking depressing like you're saying.
That's the problem. They keep changing stuff to where it's way different than its actual source material. Like, change is fine if it's, like, in small pieces, but if you're trying to change the whole thing around, like, what exactly are you adapting? What are you trying to adapt?
Let me ask you this, then. What if they just, instead of adapting, they just continue on the story, but not in live action? They keep it in this particular form.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. You are not going to make a continuation of Evangelion.
No? Okay. I don't know much about it, and I know you can't really spoil it much, but, you know, fuck. Fucking Cedric's... I know why Ganja's still quiet, because he's probably still laughing, because Cedric's like, we're on the street, that there's a leprechaun hiding in the tree. I thought I saw a leprechaun. Oh god damn it! We've been fucking out tonight, y'all, but it's cool. It's fun. Honestly, Jay, you kind of win me over on this whole Galleon. How you say it again?
You are not gonna like this fucking show.
Just because it's so depressing, or because like there's some other buffoonery that's fucking.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you are not going to like this show.
I feel like liking it just because you said I'm not gonna like it. How dare you tell me what I'm gonna like and not like, huh? Shit.
I'm telling you right fucking now.
People in the chat, have you guys seen this? Do you guys think that she's right?
Okay, who in the chat? I can have him watch it. Who wants to place a bet that he's gonna like it, and who wants to place a bet that he's not going to?
Yeah, because Devin the Great saying it's good, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. Because sometimes I'm a grumposaurus. Matthew's saying we haven't gotten a clear ending to the show yet. There is the end of Evangelion. Shinji's a little bitch. Who is Shinji?
That is the main character.
So is he like a little bitch like Deku is? Or
I'm gonna tell you right now, like, if you guys want to make a bet whether he's gonna like it, and I can have him watch it.
I'm just curious because like Cedric's response, like Shinji's a little bitch. It's like, does he like turn heel? Like, is he a good guy that he fucks somebody over? Or is he like selfish or something? Or yeah, Cedric Nick's gonna hate this. Yeah,
I need this now. Go do it.
We'll see, man. I don't know. Jenny wants to know if she's gonna hate it too. Yeah, I'm kind of. Oh, he's a whiny ass motherfucker. I hate people like that, dude. I hate like, oh god, like I forgot who it was. There's a character. Oh yeah, it's not Naruto. It's not Sasuke. But who's the third guy? The little boy. Starts with an I on Naruto.
The little boy.
Yeah, wasn't it like is Ikuku? What's his
Oh, was he the one that showed up in like the second episode with the Hokage's grandson?
Yeah, he has a bad history about his dad and shit.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
his
the one-
crying, I get why he's crying, that's cool and everything, but like it gets to a point where he's just like
Well, I'm gonna need you to stop disrespecting him.
nah, he's annoying. And plus he was being a little bitch at the beginning too. Like I don't like that dude. He's kind of a fucking asshole. So I don't know. I mean if he's anything like Shinji over here, but like
He is not. He's nothing like him.
okay. But yeah, Shinji just gets the shit kicked out of him and his dad is awful. You know what, here's the thing though about awful dads. I'm not saying that my dad was really all that bad, because I had some privilege in my life, but I kind of like stories like that, because I kind of relate to it when the dad's kind of a hard ass, and it does kind of bring out the best in fucking and the main characters. Like, what motivates you more to just kind of take over the fucking world and whoop ass? Like, yeah, your dad being hard on you. Like, I feel that. I feel that strongly as fuck. What? Arrow.
Oh, you're gonna fucking hate it.
Ryan Nick does the best Pee Wee Herman voice. Hey guys. Yeah, dude. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If we have extra time, I don't mind watching a couple episodes of this. I mean, the big rule about anime, and I feel like you guys should all agree with this too, most likely, is 3 episodes is the best.
Tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down.
No. But yeah. Oh, Kid Gohan. I haven't heard anything about that fucking
Gohan.
Gohan. Sorry.
There you go.
Oh Jesus. Anyways, hey, here's the thing though. There's a movie we watched.
Our Kid Gohan.
Where are you?
I got some clues for you now. I forgot the song Scooby Doo, but I'm still gonna jam my cock out.
I'll beat your fucking ass if you go to fucking prison for some shit like that.
Scooby Dooby Doo, I'm gonna put it in you.
That's bestiality.
Zoinks! What the fuck? Scoob, man. Oh, and that. Wow, what a great pause. What a pause. A great frame right here. Scoob is next. That's where you got the name.
Snacks.
Here's the thing, people. I don't know what to really think about this movie because
Hey, go back to that frame.
Why? What's up?
That's Koopy Snacks.
Shut up.
To be honest, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, hold on. That whole thing fucked up. No, exploit. Don't you fuck up on me. So, chat. Yeah, bad. God damn it. But no, man. I don't know. When I first saw this trailer, because we saw this when we went to go see Sonic, right? And we saw the trailer for this, and I was like, dude, this is kind of awesome. This is cool. I think it's making references to jokes or whatever that are kind of current with our current atmosphere, whatever the fuck. I don't know what to even call it. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be fun. But then as I started thinking about it, and when I started watching the movie, I was kind of like, it's kind of strange. There's some things that are questionable already. And Jeb, what was one of your first things that you thought of? Because we're gonna get around to everybody and what they thought, but like, you had a reaction that was like, oh fuck, I was kind of scared. What was one of the first things that you said that was negative about this?
Well, this is a nitpicking side, but basically, like how they started off, like obviously it starts off with Shaggy and Scooby as kids. First thing I'm thinking is, when does this take place? Because it has a scene with basically I almost called him Scabby.
Scabby too.
I feel like Scabby do.
With Shaggy basically like having an iPhone and basically like flipping through like apps or whatever, like music apps and stuff like that, like with different generations of music, all based on like loneliness and stuff. And then he starts listening to a podcast, and I'm just like, okay, when exactly does this take place? Because podcasts didn't start getting big till like maybe 6 or so years ago, and he's like maybe like 8 or so.
Yeah.
And then basically later, like, okay, like obviously this is supposed to take like place now, and the whole thing with like the Mystery Machine 2 being very 70s, it's just like, you guys do know you could update it so it's not so 70s, right?
Yeah, instead of like just doing something just for the people that are older that remember the shit from back in the day, because that's one thing that was kind of bothering me a little bit, where I'm like, oh, so this is not really a remake, it's just kind of like a retelling of the story where they kind of like, undo a couple of things. And the main thing that they really redo is the fact that this gets that thing out of the way, where it's like every Scooby-Doo movie or thing is they find some kind of criminal, they take his mask off, boom, it's not a monster, it's this thing. They do that here, but they do it right away. And this becomes something that's very much not like any Scooby-Doo property I've ever seen. And granted, maybe there's some Scooby-Doo movies I haven't watched yet.
That's the thing. Scooby-Doo property. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way very early. I don't find this a Scooby-Doo movie. I find this more as a Hanna-Barbera movie. And more on terms of Blue Falcon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And right away, I got to ask Roxy and Ganja.
Hello!
Were you guys like hyped about this, or you guys just watched this for the fuck of it? Because I don't remember us talking too much about this. I'll start with Roxy. Were you hyped about this?
I was a little excited about it. Like, there was a couple things that I groaned at when I saw the trailer, like, oh, that's not good. But why did we watch the movie? We both kind of wanted to see it, basically, right?
I enjoyed the trailer. That was the biggest thing about it.
Yeah. Because, yeah, we had, I mean, I don't know if it was because we're all together as a family over there in Las Vegas, like, woo, yeah, Scooby, and then we're going to watch Sonic, yeah, awesome. I don't know if that's what it was, but we were all like...
Well, that wasn't me.
No, Jeb was just like, wow! You just start spinning around the entire room like Tasmanian devil and shit. But
no more just like, I know this motherfucker's going to have me sit down and watch fucking Scoobert fucking Doobert do.
You damn right he was. Honestly, the trailer was endearing to me. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was going to be something on the level of maybe a better Minions film, or something that you see from DreamWorks, or even I forget the other company is, Illumination.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this action movie that we saw, I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. I thought it was a good movie. I guess Jeff's point from there, it's not really a Scooby-Doo movie. It's more of an overall Hanna-Barbera movie with Scooby-Doo characters as the drive force for the plot and why they introduce you to the characters. But I felt like it was fun the whole time. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are really talking shit about it and really hate on the fact there's no mystery and like the kid stuff, but I really appreciate that. And this is something I'll break down to you, Jay, and we were talking about in the production meeting and just us hanging out. I think the reason they did the set and the way they did is it feels like what they were trying to do was have kids have something to remember as well as us, and something what Nick brought up early on. But I thought it was really well done, because one thing me and Roxy talked about was the cell phone was just used. At no point did they just use it as like, oh, I have the new iPhone something. Oh, isn't it amazing that phones got touchscreens now? They never dated themselves. It was just a fact of life, like, hey, we have cell phones, we can use them for the flashlight of the camera. And I felt like it fit well, because this is something I think a lot of people have forgotten, is Scooby-Doo has been around since the 70s. And most people in our generation from the ages like 28 below, their generation of Scooby-Doo has always been like a semi-70s, 80s kind of hippie little vibe thing of the mystery van, the ascot, all that stuff. But I think people fail to realize, but the reason why those kids are based like that is that's what they perceive 20-year-olds as. They even make a reference to that in the movie of how Shaggy acts. But now, for the kids now, they're going to have a different type of mentality of the world around them, a different experience. So I like that the first thing they did was add technology to these kids. For example, like all of us that are in our mid-20s going on to our 30s, even mid-30s now, you guys got to realize cell phones have been around for 20 plus years. And that's just not cell phones in general. That's smartphones with the whole touchscreen and everything. 2008 is 20 years ago now. So these kids that were like fucking 8 years old in either 2007, 2006, 2008, hell, even 12 at that time, they're all in their mid-20s now. So it makes sense why they would have that technology then as kids. Like, people are saying, oh, it's pandering as the studio execs acting was cool. Yeah, you got the Ruth Gators Bigsburg joke, but besides that, it's really focused on the kids now and the time period now. I feel like this movie was for the kids today. And I feel like the people that are really mad about this film are honestly just mad because it wasn't for fucking you. Like, this is a new generation Scooby-Doo. This is what you can't try to go through.
I'm gonna go ahead and argue with that.
Okay.
If it's basically like, if they're basically trying to update it for like the new kids now, they can at least also do like an updating of their outfits too. I know goddamn well stoners like fucking Shaggy aren't wearing no green and the fucking red ass pants. They're wearing fucking white t-shirts and cargo pants and beanies. They could at least update their outfits, at least to like try a little bit. And also the whole thing about like, yeah, like it's not for us. We're possibly the last generation who actually really knows about Hanna-Barbera. It's definitely not for them kids, because I know no goddamn kids are listening just like, oh, well, I fucking love Captain Caveman.
And
like, who the fuck is Captain Caveman?
And the biggest thing, too, is like...
But they do know Scooby-Doo, because Scooby-Doo's been on the Air Cartoon Network.
That's because they keep fucking remaking Scooby-Doo. And that's
well, yeah, that's how they're going to introduce these classic characters. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect like family film, because that's honestly for the adults and the older people in the room.
And I agree somewhat to that, but like the thing that I'm still hung up on is a little bit of the whole fucking like, because you said earlier, like, well, 2008 was 20 years ago. No, you're about 8 years off. That was like 12 years ago, and 12 to 20 is a huge difference, because in the year 2000, we were still shocked by fucking like the flip phones that are not attached to your car. In 2008, we had like iPod fucking classics with 120 gigabytes of music. Big fucking difference, like super big difference. And when they show this, like, for me, I was thinking, like, okay, you know what? Because we were talking about this before the show, and Ganja was like, well, yeah, dude, like, you know, the phones have been around so long that when these guys grew up, you know, technology has completely changed. And I'm like, well, okay, how far did they grow up? Because they never tell you how many years has been, which that's a flaw in the movie. The movie should have told you. And, you know, to put things in perspective.
The only person in that whole group who has an updated outfit is Fred, and the only thing he took off with his ascot. No one in that group should be wearing the same thing that they should be wearing.
And they never, like, we just
But then you also run into the same problem of, like, because this thing, I agree with you, they should have changed their clothes. But then you have these reviewers that I've been watching recently, like, oh, this ain't a Scooby-Doo movie, man. I hate that they did all this new stuff and did that. That's the problem in having to do these remakes, is you have to appease the old and the new fans. You have to bring in new people in that are known to these technologies, that are used to it, that grew up with it, essentially, and have them connect to their childhood with the Scooby-Doo characters and extrapolate on that, as well as you got to bring in the people that are old fans of the series. I mean, that's honestly the problem.
Then that comes with my other question. Who exactly was this for?
Honestly, this is a family film. It's for everybody. That's what I got out of it.
Because diving into it more, there's a couple of jokes in here that are just like, okay, that's definitely not for kids. So I'm guessing it's for adults. And then basically,
it's like in a Tinder joke.
Yeah, there's a Tinder joke, there's a meth joke, there's an F-bomb joke, there's a decapitation. Yes, there's definitely a decapitation. Dick Dastardly. Don't know why he was even the main villain in here. Because if you're looking for wacky racers or any like sort of thing that hints at wacky races, besides like Dick Dastardly and Muttley, you ain't gonna get that. They just kind of threw him in there because just like, okay, villain, we need one. Who works? Let's think of the first villain that comes to mind. Dick Dastardly. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mauricio. Yeah, toxic masculinity jokes. Yeah, that's another one. And another big thing too is like, and this is somewhat of a spoiler, but at the same time, you guys probably should put this in there. And it's very
but at the same time, you guys still, like, me and Roxy watched the original movies, and they also date themselves in there. It's like, Scooby-Doo has not been the head of his time, yo.
No, I know, but like, the thing I was gonna bring up too is like, there's a part where they do the intro, which I popped. I was like, oh,
the intro was like one of the parts like I actually did like.
Yeah, from the 1960s intro, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. But if you're gonna be a movie that's kind of like being in the middle of like, oh, we're gonna entertain like the mom and dad, and we're gonna entertain kids that are watching this, I feel like you should have did something that was more like, okay, we're not going to go so kid friendly then super adult, because Tinder, imagine a kid 5 years old, hey dad, what's Tinder? It's why I fuck everybody else except your mom, son. That's what Tinder is. That's the app that I use to cheat. Like, it just, Tinder's not, like, that's just a throwaway. Like, it's so weird how some of these jokes, there's not even a slight chance of somewhat, like, explaining to people.
It's a weird combination between adult joke and basically being very, very stupid, to where a kid should be able to follow, but that second half is just like, even I couldn't follow. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? This makes no damn sense.
The reincarnation thing with the dog, and like, two of us had to be on one side or whatever. Like, people, obviously it's a kids show or a kids movie. You guys know
that fucking Deus Ex Machina at the end.
Yeah, and like, we're not gonna go into full spoiler territory, but it's just kind of like, there's some shit that happens at the end that kind of like retcon something that happens 5 minutes before it, and then retcon something else before that. It's like like, it gets so confusing that if I was a kid, I can't follow. Like, I'm an adult and can't follow. Imagine a kid. Like,
I was so fucking confused. Like, I don't even know how they even got to that fucking point. I was just like, because I was watching like big time, because I was just like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to this. That second half had me so confused. Okay, like, why are they doing this? Okay, that doesn't make no goddamn sense. Okay, if this is the case, then why this? And at the end, just like, okay, that was totally fucking pointless and very stupid.
Yeah.
It just had me mad the entire time. Like, even characters that they introduced, like, weren't needed at all. I already said earlier, Captain Caveman, they did not need fucking Captain Caveman. Like, no one basically is gonna go like, oh, Captain Caveman, I love Captain Caveman. They're gonna go like, oh, Captain Caveman. The kids are either gonna go, who the fuck is that? Hey, Dad, who is that? Oh, some fucking character I didn't even like.
And to go against what Jet's saying just for a second, because I know you've been green this entire time, and I think Ganja makes a lot of points too, but the one thing to go against you on, Jet, is that if they're building a universe, this is how you do it. And even though it's going to confuse people, who the fuck is Captain Caveman, or this other character, it's like, well, the reason why they're probably doing that is that they're going to do all these other movies. But here's my issue with that, too.
The thing is, who's asking for a Captain Caveman movie?
No one, but I'm thinking that, like, if you're going to do that, right, and you're going to kind of, like, show things right away, I feel like that's almost being too confident that this movie was great. Because that's the thing I don't like about those Netflix Marvel shows, like Daredevil and shit. It's like, we're going to name this guy, we're going to name drop this person, we're going to sign Rosario Dawson to fucking 20,000 fucking shows, because we're going to just keep this rolling forever. And then two years later, it's gone because Luke Cage is fucking so terrible. And fucking Disney spent money on this and did that and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't do that. You make the shit, and then if it's good, you build on that for the next thing. This movie, Scoob, even though I think it's good, they kind of put their dick right on the table saying, boom, we got the money, we got the characters, we're going to have the Hanna-Barbera universe. We might put this movie named Scoob, like, out there and call it the Scooby-Doo movie, but it so fucking isn't. We're rolling with something right here, and that's cool, but just imagine if this was actually a bad movie. It would have been the Dark Universe all over again. And it's like, yeah, you fuck things up for other characters later on. When you just kind of put it into your head, I'm going to do all this shit. It's like, earn it first. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like, all right, I'm gonna jump in because the one thing you guys are saying is like they got a lot of jokes that are not for kids in there. Well, the original Scooby-Doo movie had that. Like, they have fucking Sugar Ray from his playing one of his songs in there. I was at that age that I didn't know the fuck that was, but I knew his music. Like, I think you guys are like putting yourselves into what the kids are doing and not realizing kids have access to a lot of information now. They will get these references as well. They grew up with the stories. Hell, I've sat down with my little brother and we've watched the old Hanna-Barbera stuff. He will know these characters. You got Boomerang on television. You got different types of avenues that can stream these old cartoons. Kids have a chance to run into these characters, and when it comes to introducing these characters, you have to do it in the sense because, like you said, no one wants a Captain Caveman movie, so you have him as a set piece within the Scooby-Doo movie because he belongs to the Hanna-Barbera universe. This is a movie that's trying to build its foundations and then just jump into like, hey, these characters is this. Honestly, I think this was well built and well rounded to the point that I think you guys are just like you guys even said it's going to be a little more nitpicking of a review. But like when you look at the old Scooby-Doo properties, they were that essentially like Scooby-Doo Island. It starts off with the premise like we want to go find real ghosts. And then it ends with a zombie invasion story at the end of it. The original Scooby-Doo movie, it starts with them trying to figure out a mystery on Scooby-Doo Island that eventually leads to a big supernatural mystery where Scrappy is trying to take the skull of Scooby because apparently Scooby-Doo is the prophecy one of a pure soul. They do these movies all the time. I think the only time they ever really focus on a real mystery is in the second movie for the live action stuff. This has actually been a staple of Scooby-Doo for the longest. And that's not even getting to like the James Gunn jokes that were really made for adults in that first one, because he was the creators of the series of that one. Like, this is actually a staple of Scooby-Doo, of trying to advance forward with the kids and humor and add aspects from the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. They did it with the Incorporated show as well. If you guys go check that out, it's another one where it starts off about the Scooby-Doo gang, but then you have other Hanna-Barbera characters that begin to start to appear through the series. Now, it's a television show, so they can pan it out a little more, but for a movie series that is really trying to build something off of it, I think this was really well done.
Okay.
Was it because, like, let's take Dick Dastardly. If they really were trying to build this, like, at least decently, we would know he came from Wacky Racers, or at least somewhat hint that basically he's from a racing show, right? Tell me this. I use you as an example. Me and Diaz were watching this together, right? You did not know where the fuck he even came from. Imagine someone younger watching this, because I don't know what age range this should actually even be for, considering, like, the references and stuff like that, and how stupid, like, the actual ending was, to where it's just like, okay, that not only made sense, but it's also stupid. You basically were asking me, like, okay, what is Wacky Racist? Because you didn't know what the hell that was. Oh man, like, that's gonna happen with some kid too. It's like, oh yeah, he came from a racing show, and then what? You know what they're gonna say next? Why is he not racing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then there's even a part where there's an area where they do some location.
Well, at the same token, like, Scooby-Doo's not solving a mystery in this one. They solve mysteries early on, but it turns into a superhero movie towards the end. Like, besides the montages of them actually doing the mystery stuff, it just turns into a regular superhero reunite friendship movie towards the end.
No, I agree with that, and I think that even Jet agrees with that. The thing is, it's just like, that's what me and Jet were saying, where it's like, this isn't a Scooby-Doo movie. And it's like, it's labeled as that.
But it still had more Scooby-Doo elements than, I guess, probably the rest. Oh, actually, no, more Blue Falcon than Scooby-Doo. Zero really were Wacky Racers, because all they did was take Dick Dastardly and add no elements of Wacky Racers.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm curious, like, Roxy, what would you label this as? Like, I mean, like, did you ever have an issue at all with, like, the non-family/family aspects of it? Like, tone-wise, how'd you feel?
Definitely, there were some jokes that I, like, rolled my eyes at, like the fucking Tinder joke. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Y'all are dating yourselves. Like, you guys had, like, a really good start, because when it came to the parts where they showed the kids, they made it a bit more relevant to the kids of today, but they never exactly dated it exactly like a set date and time. It's just set around, like, a certain time period, like the 2010s, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I like that they did that, because then, of course, like, a couple years from now, smartphones are still going to be a thing. They didn't talk about it like, hey guys, let me just whip out my new iPhone and use my flashlight, because, you know, the new updated version has, like, a flashlight.
Yeah.
No, it's just they pulled it out and went about it. And then when one dude got exposed for something, you know, the stuff you see in the background, they didn't put heavy emphasis on that either. But for me personally, I just thought it was like a movie for all ages generally. Like, they had stuff for the old school fans who maybe actually were kids, like, back in the fucking 60s and 70s when this shit was going on. So they have, like, the references to that, like with Hong Kong Phooey, with the whole Wacky Racers thing. And then you have, like, our kind of age group where, like, we're not as old as the previous generation, but we did grow up with that. And they also had callbacks to us. Like, there's a Hex Girls reference in, like, the background of one of the scenes, that it was actually, like, our generation's Hex Girls, which was pretty cool. And then for, like, the newer kids that are up and coming, they have, like, the more modern jokes, I guess, or, like, the more modern things that they can talk about. Like, I'm pretty sure a kid knows what IKEA is. Yeah. And I feel like it's, like, a generational talking point, maybe. Like, if a kid's like, hey, Dad, who's this fuck? I mean, not necessarily. I generally hope they wouldn't say that, but maybe it's like, yeah, I watched, like, this stuff when I was a kid, and then your grandpappy watched that when he was a kid. Like, we can introduce you to that stuff and have it be a talking point and continue the generational information. Some people might seek it out and continue on, like, building on, like, Cats and Caveman. Maybe some kid was like, hey, I like Tracy Morgan in that. you know, I want to see like the earlier adaptations. And then if some kid doesn't want to go further than that, then cool. And they know what it is, and it continues like the whole generational buildup to kind of secure a point where future generations are going to continue to talk about Scooby-Doo and the Hanna-Barbera universe. They're not going to be experts by any means unless they take the time to look into all that shit. Like Ryan, for example.
Yeah.
The man's an encyclopedia. He knows his shit.
He really is.
So I'm sure when Ryan has a kid, he's going to be like, yeah, I used to watch these when I was little. And then he'd tell him facts and shit. Maybe the kid's going to be like, yeah, Daddy, I'm following your footsteps. Happy Ryan. And then maybe the kid's like, oh, fuck you, Dad. I don't like this shit. You're dumb. And then like something else.
And Ryan just starts beating him like
That's when his son rebelled by saying, fuck you and those puppets.
Yeah, and then Ryan
So
just hands him
basically it's just
upside
a generational buildup. Like the same thing with all the stuff that we like. We're probably going to show all of our kids that. And whether or not they choose to like it or not, they're still going to be aware of it.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's like, I agree with every negative point that Jet said, but at the same time, when I went into this, and this is the thing that I don't like doing, because it is a cartoon, and when I watched it, I had my cartoon helmet on, my cartoon brain, and it's like, there's things I wasn't asking questions that I should be asking questions, because, like, some shit's really stupid, but I was like, oh, it's a cartoon, well, it's okay. But if I do that, it's like, well, then that's the case for everything ever, because, like, you watch a Marvel thing, and it's like, oh, well, Spidey it's some stupid little boy shit. So it's okay that he shoots his little Spidey web, and then they call it the spider tingle. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't like doing that. Because
that actually brings up a good question. What is the limit for y'all for where a movie starts, like, and I'm gonna ask you, Jet, first, because it seems like this movie would be a good, like, you'll be able to point out certain examples in the movie that did it for you, but like, when do like animated movies push things too far that you're like, I'm tuned out now? Or any movies in general, like when they push it too far in terms of like the fantastical or like just ignoring certain things that need to be explained?
Twerking.
What?
Yeah, twerking. No, honestly,
like, what?
That's annoying too.
Honestly, I basically kind of phased in and out of your question, but I thought you said something on the lines of like, what basically would make me tune out of a movie like this if like they basically updated and whatever.
Not updated, but like, all right, so you know how sometimes like in the movie, like you're noticing like things that stand out or potholes. When can the potholes go so far that you're like, okay, I'll allow, like, this may 3 or 4, it's fine. I can just let the movie run. But what is the limit for you? Like, well, what is a set piece that they do that's like, oh, I'm done?
Still not really understanding your question.
In essence, what I think he's trying to ask is like, is there anything that gets so kind of fantastical or so like convenient in a movie? Like, what makes you go like, okay, you take it too far, you jumped the shark, this is bullshit.
Like what this movie did.
But at what point did the movie do it for you? Like, at what spot where you're like, okay, that was fucking bullshit. Like, why are you doing this?
Right at the middle when we got a reference to Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
I don't blame you there. I thought that was dumb.
And the way that they keep hammering on that point and meandering that, and then it becomes part of the ending, but then not. It's like, dude, why did you do that?
It also doesn't make any sense. Are we going to do spoilers for this? Because I'm pretty sure.
Fuck it's the kid. Like, it's Scooby-Doo. Who's going to get mad at us?
Well, someone did. No, someone said that in the chat. They're like, come on, guys, spoilers.
So here, we're going to start spoiling shit because we're spoiling a lot. Like, we'll tell you when to come back.
Okay, here's the thing. Before we do that, ratings so they just know. Jet, out of 5.
2.
Ganja, out of 5.
4.
Roxy, out of 5.
Shit, 3.5. Like I enjoyed it, but I'm gonna be honest. Some parts of it, fucking Watch Together kept skipping up on me, and I'm really fucking pissed about that. So from what I was able to see, I enjoyed it. I didn't get every single fucking joke, but I got most of the movie.
And
so like 3.8, because I'm still mad that I didn't hear all the fucking jokes.
And I'm right here with Roxy and Ganja. I say 4 out of 5, but we'll get into the reason why it's like it's almost an unfair advantage that this movie has because of the way we look at it. So with that said, those are ratings. Y'all can.
I'm gonna have to ask this too. Out of everyone here, who actually likes Scooby-Doo?
Me. I love Scooby-Doo.
Yo.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm 1 out. So I actually fucking despise fucking Scooby goddamn Doober Doo with a fucking passion. I can't stand fucking Scooby-Doo. I only like 3 movies. The rest I can't fucking stand. But that's what I threw that out when coming into this movie. I'm just like, okay, gotta let my biases like go. And that actually did work because this was mostly not a Scooby-Doo movie. It's more Blue Falcon movie, if anything. But yeah, going back into what I was talking about, the Alexander the Great shit, there was a part that made no goddamn fucking sense.
Not at all.
Like, I pick apart shit a lot when I watch movies. It's just something I have. Scoopy's a stray, right? If he had this big fucking, like, ancestral fucking thing going on to where he's related to fucking Alexander the Great's fucking dog, why the fuck was he a stray? Why did they not put his ass, like, maybe, like, I don't know, like, locked him up somewhere, or basically, like, gave him royalty or whatever the fuck? It didn't make no goddamn sense.
And one thing to bring up too.
How do they know that? Did he give away his DNA at one point?
Well, the biggest thing too to bring it up, because I'm gonna let you continue on, but for those of you that might come in and say like, well, I mean, it's a cartoon. The movie did bring these things up. They brought up questions they don't have answers to. It's like now you're just wasting time. You want to have fun and joke around. You're trying to bring up this Alexander the Great and that he has his ancestral whatever the fuck thing. All this stuff's going on, and it's like we didn't care about that. Why? So, movie, you brought it up, so what are you going to do that's going to finish the story you decide to give to us? Oh, nothing? Well, then, can we have fun, or are you going to tell us some stupid fucking story that makes no goddamn sense and just wasted everyone's fucking time?
Before I go more into basically, like, slapping this movie, because the thing, I didn't hate it. I really didn't. It's just easy to pick out, like, the things you hate about it first, rather than going into the things you actually liked. I like the art design. I like the opening sequence. The characters... Anyway. Well, at least I like Fred. He was basically Himbo King this entire movie. Velma, Daphne, whatever. They're Velma and Daphne. Scooby-Doo, never really gave a shit about Scooby-Doo. Shaggy, who's just fucking Shaggy, never really gave a shit about Shaggy. Blue Falcon got on my last goddamn nerve in this entire movie because they basically just made him a millennial who wants to be like part of Gen Z. It's so fucking annoying and shit. And just like I feel for Dynamite, who was also one of the only characters who did everything. Who did anything in this entire fucking movie. Dynamite did everything. Like this should have just been called fucking Dynamite. It shouldn't have been called Scoob. It should have been called Dynamite because he was the one putting in the world having the other girl whose name I do not fucking know. The black girl in there.
I do not know if they even brought her name up in this whole fucking movie.
I do not know her name whatsoever. And I tried. I was listening to it. It's like, does she even have a name? Because they don't use it that much. Or at least I didn't hear it very well. She also does work. So it's basically Blue Falcon's team doing most of the work while the fucking Scooby-Doo and the fucking gang don't do really shit until like the very end, just like fucking Blue Falcon, who's so even in the part where he actually becomes useful, he really isn't that needed. But yeah, Dynamite and the other girl, only people in this entire movie I actually liked. Dick Dastardly, oh my, like I watched Wacky Races growing up. They changed his character a bunch. They made him a total piece of shit. It's like, damn, okay. Okay, I mean, it's a welcome change. I don't mind it. I mean, even if he basically becomes so fucking fucked up that he performs a decapitation.
Yeah, because that was fucking crazy. That was awesome. Yeah, man.
Like, and his whole reasoning for doing shit is also like weird too because I don't know if they mentioned this in the movie, but something happens to Muttley, and we don't actually know how much time passes between that to where it's just like, okay, when did this take place?
Like I said, don't know.
Isn't that, like, it is, like, the beginning part of the movie, like, I actually didn't mind whatsoever, besides, like, fucking Simon Cowell joke. That shit's 12 years fucking old. That was horrible. I didn't really mind this movie that I didn't mind the beginning of that movie that much. The second half was horrible. I could not stand it. I was just hoping the shit ended as soon as possible.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering what the spoilers are, basically for the very end of the movie, is that, you know, yeah, they had this thing where Scoob and Shaggy, they're going against Dick Dastardly, and he opens up this gate basically that has his three-headed Cerberus inside of this fucking area with a bunch of money. He goes under and he had his own dog too, just like how Shaggy does. It's almost like a mirrored little fucking storyline here. And he goes there, finds his dog, is like, yeah, I got this, but the Cerberus is able to get out, and he's fighting people, and it's a really bad.
This movie also should have been just called Dogs. Hanna-Barbera fucking dogs. It's just all about fucking dogs.
But
Hanna-Barbera, good boys.
As this thing happens, I mean, cause it reminds me of like a Devil May Cry match or whatever, and like there's barely any like fighting going on. The dog just kind of like sits there menacing, arr, 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 and he comes out, and then like within a 5-minute fight scene, because Blue Falcon, once he has the confidence to fight off the Cerberus, he takes care of it pretty quickly. So this climax, like, okay, well, it can't be the climax. Like, there's no way, right? Well, you find out, oh no, the climax is the fact that Shaggy and Scoob have to separate. And it's about which one of them are brave enough to say, hey, I will sacrifice myself for your safety. And, they do this thing where one person sacrifice into the Alexander the Great statue thing, and they get locked in there with the Cerberus and the bad guy and all this shit. Well, 5 minutes later, the statue just appears out of nowhere and has something that has, like, this stupid little saying. And there's lots of saying in this movie. There's lots of, like, quotes that have this stupid meaning that's, like, almost biblical. And this particular biblical meaning is, if Scooby-Doo has the love in his heart for something, then he can bring his love back from the dead or whatever. I don't know what the fuck. And Shaggy just appears out of nowhere. The statue disappears. And I'm telling you, like, before...
Basically what happens is, like, they're just like, wait, why did Alexander the Great separate from his dog? Like, they're together later, right? There must be some hint or something that basically brings the other one back so they can see each other. And then basically a fucking Deus Ex Machina pops up, and then they read some fucking thing, whatever. And then basically a statue pops up, and then he's just like, Cerberus is just like, here's your friend back, and then just disappears. That's exactly how it fucking goes.
And it's like, think of this as a kid. You went to see this movie, and now the movie wants to get all fucking philosophical. Like, hey, I'm going to give you all this crazy shit where we go into dimensions, and we go into different Hanna-Barbera worlds, and then people die, but then they come back, and then they respawn out of the air, and then a statue disappears, unless you don't feel the quote that says all this crazy shit. Imagine if you're 5 years old, you're in a movie theater, you just want to see a talking dog and a fucking stoner kid do silly shit. But with all this stuff, as a kid, I would be like, dude, get me the fuck out of this movie theater. I want to go watch SpongeBob. Some dumb shit. It's like, this movie decides to become some adult, super smart, fucking, like, crazy story, and that's the only thing that keeps us from being a perfect Scooby-Doo thing, because I just wanted to see Scooby eat some snacks, get some bad guys.
That would have pissed me off. But
I think this still, like, that's
the problem with it is, like, the second half feels rushed. If it was a lot more, like, paced as the first half, I think it would have been fine, because it just seemed like they just tried to throw a whole bunch of stuff together at the end to where it's just like, why the fuck did I even sit here and watch this if that's what you're going to give me?
Yeah, so...
I can't explain that. I literally cannot explain why they even went that route, because it makes no sense.
Yeah, so that's the thing that happens at the end, and we just decided to spoil it or whatever.
I'd honestly just be...
Yeah, I mean...
I'd honestly just be sitting there just going like, damn, I really hope my kid doesn't ask me to explain that shit, because I'll be looking like a damn fool.
Yeah, and we hope that it kind of explains more of what we're coming from, because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, Ganja and Roxy are right about, like, hey, it's just some stupid shit. It's a cartoon. It's good. It's a good cartoon. But when you...
I with you on the Alexander shit, I thought it was dumb, mostly because I know the historical figure, Alexander. He was a fucking scumbag asshole. He didn't give a shit about people in his life. He killed his best friend that saved him from battle the day of. Like, he had sacrificed his horse in order to get safely... that he quote unquote loves so much he made him like a mayor of a town or some shit. Like,
now, did he have anything to do with Cerberus?
That's nothing, except because he's Greek.
Okay, that's
yeah.
Okay, because I'm just like, he doesn't seem like. Why is Cerberus connected to this? I don't get this.
Because Greek, that's it. Like, it's a dog.
I guess so, but like that's the thing. It's just like when you make something, just like with comic books too. Like, I was cool with whatever fantastical shit that Endgame's gonna do, or any of these kind of crazy movies. But then we're just like, hey, I have this other weird, crazy, fantastical reason why I'm doing this, and this weird, crazy ability that I have to do this, so it looks cool on screen. Like, not talking shit about Doctor Strange, but that's one of those situations. I understand that maybe in the comic books he does do all the crazy shit he does in the Doctor Strange movie, but the fact that there's portals and there's this and there's that, this world that Doctor Strange does, just like Scooby and just like all these things do, they get so crazy that when you open up that many possibilities to do anything you want in the world, how does anything have heft to what it's doing? Because we're not grounded anymore. If we're not grounded, like let's just say in general, just in life, we're all walking around, right? If we all had the ability to fly, is Superman cool? No, we can fly too. It gets crazy if you add too many fucking dynamics and layers to something as simple as the dog talks and Shaggy is a fucking
Well,
story.
we end up just getting fucking Suicide Squad again.
Yeah, we got motherfuckers flying, the dude's trying to
Or
learn.
Justice League, which was honestly way worse.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But that, that's pretty much about it, though. We have been on for about 2 hours, though. So with that said, guys, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I think Jet's pretty much the only person that actually legitimately gave this like lower than average score. But it doesn't mean that's a bad movie.
Like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I definitely hated that second part. If it was more like the first part, I wouldn't have minded. But god damn, that shit, that Alexander the Great shit just pissed me the fuck off because it made me feel like a dumbass because I'm really trying to follow up. What does this even mean? What? Huh? I said, who? Huh?
But we will see.
Asking all these goddamn questions and shit, knowing I'll never get a fucking answer.
But here's the thing, guys. We'll see what happens with the next incarnament and whatever the fuck the goddamn Hanna-Barbera series or universe is going to be. But we are going to know what the next incarnament of the podcasts are going to be, and that's going to be on the Metropolis Collective as Ganja Guru tells you where to find him and his little buddies.
Well, y'all, you can check me out at the Illuminati Podcast on the Metropolis Collective on Facebook, where me, Alan, and the great Ruthless Wonder talk about politics, break down cultural stuff, even advocate some crazy shit that might get us flagged in the future fucking Hayek commercial. But when it comes to the Illuminati Podcast, make sure to go like it, subscribe it, all that good shit so you guys can check out our opinion. Also, we're going to have a Roxanne episode for one of the Metro plays. Getting that edit at the moment. Ruthless creator decided to commit suicide halfway through an editing process, so he's getting it fixed. Nick, you know how that is, but we'll have stuff eventually go up again.
Yeah, so with that said, people, chat the chat, stay toasty, and we will see you tomorrow for the Sunday Service pre-show. And obviously the after hours. Discord, come follow us. Check us out on Facebook.
Hop on the Discord, bitches.
Dooby-doo. I hate you. I really can't. I can stand you.
The letter soon, guys. I've been waiting.
In the ministry.
We can't count on you. Scooby-Doo.